What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4PR Chapter 83, Instant Coaxing versus Stinging the Enemy, 2 hits will kill, seeking subscription. Jingle Chunshui was immediately depressed, although he was open to everything, who could bear it when faced with plum blossoms for the second time. From the video, only Yoruichi's back can be seen, but the arc of her legs can be seen clearly. It's almost a horse. There is Kurosaki Ishin in the front and Kurosaki Ichigo in the back. It's really cheap for the father and son. Ahem, Captain Jingle, don't be discouraged, maybe there will be opportunities in the future. Yushiro joked with a smile, maybe Jingle will be treated like this in the future. What does Captain Yushiro think of me? Jingle Chunshui calmed down. He is also a veteran captain after all, so he can't lose face because of this. But I'm still complaining, Yoruichi's figure is much better than Kurosaki Masaki, it's a pity. Sui Feng at the side gritted his teeth, with a fierce look in his eyes. Thinking of the scene just now, even though Yoruichi took the initiative, she still felt a little unacceptable. Kurosaki Ichigo, next time I see you, I will definitely teach you a lesson. Captain Yoruichi and Urahara Kazuki have a very close relationship. They even built a secret base and they often go to play together. Chianyu looked at Sui Feng curiously. His father, Omeda Nozomi, used to be Yoruichi's vice captain, so he was a little curious about Yoruichi. Boom. Without saying a word, Sui Feng hit Omeda's face directly with his fist. Didn't this sentence directly touch Sui Feng's knee Lin? Don't mention Urahara Kazuki in front of me, how many times do you want me to tell you? Sui Feng glared at Omeda viciously, with a terrifying voice. She doesn't know that Yi and Urahara Kazuki have a good relationship. The two are childhood sweethearts, and their relationship is so good that Yoruichi even wants to break into the death penalty trial scene to save Urahara Kazuki at all costs. From this point of view, I seem to be an outsider. Present world. When Kurosaki Ichigo saw the video, he immediately recalled the scene at that time, as well as Yoruichi's. Suddenly, his face flushed red. Kurosaki-san, I didn't expect you. Inoue Orihime hesitated to speak. At the beginning, he and Kurosaki Ichigo broke into Seirei together and it was regarded as a travel accident. Although the two acted separately, it is too outrageous for such a thing to happen. Inoue, don't get me wrong. Ichigo looked at Orihime's melancholy look, and quickly explained. I didn't see anything at the time. Ha. You're lying to an idiot. Renji laughed out loud. You're laughing like a hammer. Ichigo turned his head and wrestled with Renji. Urahara store. Kazuki's smile froze, and the plaid hat on his head instantly changed color. But he didn't care too much, Kurosaki Ichigo was just a child in his eyes, and of course Yoruichi was the same. He sighed and complained. Kurosaki Ishin, Kurosaki Ichigo, alas, who are all the people I met? The Kurosaki house. Dad and mom went through the same thing, and finally became husband and wife. That night. Would they become sister-in-law? Kurosaki Sha Li's expression was a bit wretched, she looked at Yixin and continued. Dad, you said that sister-in-law is a cat, isn't it exciting? Kurosaki Ishin glanced at Sha Li angrily. Sha Li, don't talk nonsense, the nature is different. He and Masaki are true love. Yoruichi and Kurosaki Ichigo are nothing. Moreover, Yoruichi is much older than Kurosaki Ishin, let alone how the relationship between the two is, the seniority will be messed up. Although the picture played in the video is a bit outrageous, everyone has understood the cat form in Yoruichi's ability bar. Of course, since the cat form is displayed in the ability attribute, it means that Yoruichi is not simply switching forms, but will gain some kind of enhanced ability. At this point, the video screen turns. Yoruichi and Sui Feng face off in the jungle. I see, although you have been missing for a long time, it seems that your martial arts have not improved much. With disdain on Sui Feng's face, this was the first time she met Yoruichi after he escaped from the real world. Yoruichi crossed his arms and smiled faintly. I think your martial arts are a bit regressed. Hearing this, Sui Feng's eyes tightened, and he asked, the Tiantashuan wrapped around Lu's body has the Shihuan family's crest on it. You gave it to him, right? That's right, because if you can't fly, you can't save Rukia. Yoruichi responded decisively. Seeing it, Sui Feng felt a little jealous. The Shihuan family of Tianxibingfan has also fallen. If it is known to help the travel disaster, it will definitely be expelled from the Four Nobles, just like the decline of the Shiba family. Sui Feng said with irony in his words, the desolate appearance of famous artists is really unbearable to watch. You talk a lot today, is it because you are so happy to see the senior you admire for a long time, isn't it? Are you venting your life's depression again? Commander-in-Chief of Secret Mobile? Yoruichi completely treated Sui Feng as a child. Success in my seat, does it bring you such a heavy burden? Drunken Bee can't tolerate stimulation, and there is some gap between her and Yoruichi in terms of personality. She held Zanpakuto, frowning. You better not provoke me, don't keep thinking you are above me. Your time is over, Shihuan Yoruichi. With a roar, Sui Feng pierced the tree trunk with Zanpakuto upside down, and in an instant, countless criminal soldiers dressed in black and masked appeared and surrounded Yoruichi. Aren't they all members of the covert mobile team, and Yoruichi can be regarded as Sui Feng's boss? Why should they fight each other? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video was a little confused. Through the previous video, he only knew that Sui Feng hated Urahara Kazuki, and even wanted to lock him in the enchantment for a month. But why is there so much hostility towards Yoruichi and hatred towards Yushu? Do you hate everyone around you? Of course he doesn't know the relationship between Sui Feng and Yoruichi, so he thinks so. The battle between Captain Sui Feng and the former 2nd Division team Chong Yei. I'm really looking forward to it. Renji's eyes are shining. You must know that Sui Feng's strength is extraordinary, and he defeated Baragan with Akita Hachi Zan Yi before. Facing Quen Shi 9, he also defeated him with infinite instant coax. Renji recognized Sui Feng's strength from the bottom of his heart, but he didn't know that the battle with 9 at that time, just like Tōshirō and Busby, seemed to defeat the Quincy, but it didn't actually hurt them essentially. Moreover, 9 was not defeated by Sui Feng's infinite instant coaxing at all, but instead severely injured Sui Feng with oppressive power. This isn't played out in the video, and Renji apparently didn't know it either. Don't tell me, when Yoruichi is fighting, he just needs to turn into a cat. Ishida Uryu stroked the frame of his glasses and said lightly. Meanwhile, the screen continues to play. Looking at the ants like criminals in black around him, Yoruichi didn't panic, he was their boss once. This is the gap between you and me now. Sui Feng snorted coldly. You should be clear, once the head of the criminal army draws his sword, it means that the execution of martial arts will begin, and anyone who is hostile to the head of the army is a must-kill target. Even if you were the former Legion commander, you who gave up the title of the Legion have nowhere to go, Yi. She gave an evil smile, as if to prove something to Yoruichi. Facing Sui Feng's motivating taunt, Yoruichi's dark but delicate mouth drew a beautiful arc. Boom. Without any warning, a white flame burst out instantly, and produced extremely strong Ryatsu. Countless criminal soldiers around were violently bounced away by this force. Is this Yoruichi's instant coaxing? Just use the high concentration Ryatsu produced by instant coaxing to eliminate all the Xingjun? Omeda outside the video twitched his mouth, and he looked much more powerful than Captain Sui Feng. Although the battle in the picture has already happened, only Yoruichi and Sui Feng know the result, and the rest don't know it at all. It's so strong, and it's true that Yoruichi doesn't carry Zanpakuto, but I don't believe she can beat Captain Sui Feng without Zanpakuto. Naturally, Tōshirō wasn't flattering Sui Feng. Because he knows the importance of Zanpakuto to Shinigami, just like himself, if there is no Zanpakuto of the strongest ice and snow element, he may not be able to beat the vice-captain who has the ability of Zanpakuto. Not to mention that Yoruichi's opponent is Sui Feng at the captain level. Captain Hitsugaya, it's not certain. Komamura Sajin stared at Tōshirō with dog eyes, and gasped. Maybe Yoruichi also has a secret technique similar to the humanization technique. Furthermore, the Shihuan family is known as the Tianchi Bingzwang fan, and there are many magical weapons in the family. Even if they don't use Zanpakuto, they're definitely at the level of a captain. Kurotsuchi Mayuri showed a gloomy smile. Captain Komamura, your one-time humanization technique is really powerful, but it can't be talked about all the time. Hearing this, Komamura Sasuke was a little upset. Why did he use the humanization technique to gain strength? Not to protect the Seirei. Immediately he smiled knowingly. Captain Ni, don't talk about the use of potions to rescue Captain Hitsugaya from now on. The old man will not mention it anymore. Tōshirō. My Nima. The video screen continued to play, and Yoruichi's split second caused a lot of vibrations, and a gust of wind hung up. Yoruichi's purple hair was blown and floated by the wind, revealing her golden pupils. She smiled slightly. You underestimate me too much. I did give up the title of Legion Commander, but I don't remember that I even had another name the number also gave up. Flash Goddess. Yoruichi. Sui Feng frowned tightly, his face full of disdain. Others may forget this title, but she will never forget it. She tore off Captain Haori's sleeves, revealing the black long sleeves she was wearing on her arms, and untied the clothesline around her waist. Hey, Captain Sui Feng, calm down, your angle is just right. Outside the video, Jingle Chunshui smiled flirtatiously. Without saying a word, Sui Feng walked over and punched Jingle Chunshui in the face, just like punching Omeda, not saving face for this veteran captain at all. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Yui's mouth twitched. This punch was not light, thinking how Omeda could stand it. It seems that we can't tease Sui Feng anymore, this guy is too serious. Kiksu secretly smiled, as if she was telling Jingle Chunshui that she deserved it. Her thoughts were over, and when she saw the action of undressing, she thought about that. Jingle Chunshui, you have fallen. Back in the frame, Sui Feng had no intention of being frivolous, and she completely tore off Captain Haori, revealing a black backless battlesuit. Her eyes turned hard, and her voice was especially sharp. So that's the case, then don't blame me, I will personally take your other title too. President of the Criminal Army is in charge of the criminal combat attire of the head of the army? Yi Yan recognized it, and smiled slightly. It's really a nostalgic battle outfit. Does it remind you of the past? A little bit? Why be polite, just think about it. The two bickered like 3-year-olds. Sui Feng squatted down, put his palms on the tree trunk. Seriously, compare me and you, who is the better fighter? After Sui Feng said, Shunpo came at such a fast speed that only an afterimage appeared. Immediately afterwards her leg kicked Yoruichi, but in the end, it was easily blocked just like Sui Feng kicked Baragan. However, the nature of the two results is completely different. When Sui Feng attacked Baragan, his own speed was reduced, while Yoruichi completely blocked the attack by relying on his faster speed than her. One strike. The two engaged in a fierce duel. The extremely fast speed was like a Saiyan battle, and countless afterimages appeared in the sky. Backquote, Ultimate Speed Showdown. Omeda, who was outside the video, deeply felt that his eyes could not keep up. Not only him, but the rest of the vice captains were also very focused, for fear of missing any details. And, based on what Omeda knows about Sui Feng, she doesn't necessarily lose. In the picture, the two temporarily pulled away from each other for a while, but Sui Feng was hit by Yoruichi once on the left shoulder. One-on-one, we are match, Yoruichi. Sui Feng shouted loudly, because in front of her, Yoruichi's mouth was already oozing blood. In the previous battle, she had the upper hand. Is there some mechanism in this outfit of yours? The movements are unrecognizable, Sui Feng. Yoruichi wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth, feeling a little surprise. In the past, it was impossible for him to be injured. Are you talking about the organ? Sui Feng closed her eyes and snorted coldly, but in the next second, she suddenly appeared behind Yoruichi like a ghost, and put Zanpakuto across Yoruichi's neck. Kill the enemy. Suzumebachi. Sui Feng freed Zanpakuto, and the blade quickly turned into a sharp finger blade. Swish. Flash Goddess Yoruichi's name is not for bragging, her figure flickered, but she dodged directly. Don't try to escape. Sui Feng took advantage of the victory and pursued. The injury just now slowed down Yoruichi's movement slightly, while being stabbed in the chest, a black butterfly-patterned B-pattern flower slowly appeared in front of the hump. 2 hits kill. This is the ability of Sui Feng Zanpakuto Shikai, as long as the enemy already has a flower pattern on his body, and the center of the pattern is attacked by Suzumebachi again, the enemy must be killed on the spot. However, for people whose Ryatsu is much higher than Sui Feng, this trick will not work. But Yoruichi's Ryatsu is comparable to Sui Feng, the second kill works for her. Beyond the speed of Flash Goddess, Captain, you will be a whole new generation from now on. Omeda cheered outside the video, although he is not as good as his father Omeda Nozomi, who was the former vice captain of the 2nd Division team, but the current captain is better than his father's captain, that's fine. Second level kill, Sui Feng's captain Zanpakuto's ability, Yoruichi is uncomfortable. Jingle Chunshui smiled at Sui Feng, trying, no promise, to restore his image. What can be exchanged is indeed Sui Feng enough to kill his gaze. Why don't you think I'm better than you? Why didn't you think that I've been releasing water until just now? Do you think that if I were to deal with you, I wouldn't release water? In the picture, Sui Feng frowned, as if with infinite hostility. I told you a long time ago that you better not be too complacent, I have already surpassed you. This is the price Yoruichi has paid for stepping back from the front lines. Looking at Yoruichi's painful expression, she smiled contemptuously again. You should still remember the ability of my trick Suzumebachi. She told Yoruichi that the power wasn't complete at the time, however, it was fully developed. Run away quickly, run for your life. Suzumebachi's ability is a 2nd level kill. As long as the same place is attacked twice, no matter what the target is, it will definitely die. After saying that, she moved behind Yoruichi in an instant. Yoruichi didn't care so much and ran away, but Sui Feng's continuous attacks still made her body covered with B patterns. While Sui Feng pursued, he continued to taunt. The former Fungenhua would disappear in a moment, but now there is no such restriction. Like the flying thunder god seal, it never fades away. After being hit again, Yoruichi was forced to stop. You should understand, I made you much stronger, Sui Feng said. A powerful force erupted, and there was a strong wind around her instantly, and her body was also covered with white arrogance. It's scary, this is the first time you've seen it. This is a tactic that combines white hits and keto, and it's my own creation. Sui Feng smiled contemptuously. You should be proud. This move was just completed a few days ago, and you are the first one to use it in actual combat. I haven't even named it yet. Did you create it yourself? Yoruichi secretly said Sui Feng's ignorance. Guangong is playing a big knife in front of Guangong. This is not it. No, the name already exists. Hearing this, Sui Feng was stunned. What did you say? Yoruichi closed his eyes and said in a deep voice, it's called Shunho. Next second. Boom. An extremely powerful energy erupted from Yoruichi's body. Chapter 84. Lethal Dose D debuts, Aizen's Rare Shock, seeking subscription. Do you know why there is no cloth in the saddle and shoulders of the criminal combat uniform? As Yoruichi said, he raised his arm, and white flames surrounded his arm. She opened her eyes, stared at Sui Feng, and explained. That's because even if there is, it's meaningless. After this move is completed, the high concentration compressed keto of the performer will gather on the back and shoulders. After Jiyu exploded it, he injected keto into his hands and feet before fighting. In other words, the fabric on the back and shoulders will burst when the move is launched. Boom. That force strengthened, and the land around Yoruichi turned into rubble, suspended in midair. Immediately afterwards, the cloth on her shoulders exploded, revealing slender shoulders and a delicate and smooth back. However, after the outer layer of clothes burst, the same costumes for criminal warfare were revealed. Seeing this scene, Sui Feng was already stunned in place, the corners of his mouth twitching continuously. Obviously, the move Yoruichi uses is also instant coaxing, and it is even several times stronger than his original unnamed move. Captain, it turns out that you didn't create Shunhu. Before you realized it, Yoruichi had already performed it very skillfully. Omeda looked at Sui Feng curiously outside the video. He could see that the instant coaxing used by Sui Feng was only in its infancy, not as sophisticated as Yoruichi at all. Sui Feng was a little embarrassed, although she already knew that Shunhu was a move that Yoruichi used to know, but the video was played, which made her very embarrassed. You're the one who talks a lot. Sui Feng glanced at Omeda angrily. HMPH, it seems that the person who released the water was not Sui Feng, but Yoruichi. Zaraki Kenpachi snorted coldly. In the video, Yoruichi's instant coaxing is several levels stronger than Sui Feng's, whether it is suppression or explosiveness. The difference can be seen from the fact that Sui Feng tore off the sleeve and Yoruichi directly cracked the sleeve with force. Yeah, actually, I don't want to use this move to compete with you. Yoruichi sighed, she raised her arm, and reminded. Be careful, Sui Feng, because of this move, even I can't. It's well under control. The violent explosion was deafening, and the fiery lightning bolts submerged the two of them. When the light disappeared, Yoruichi and Sui Feng stood facing each other on two stone pillars, but there was a deep crack in front of them. The flame generated by the instant coaxing is still burning in the soil and has not been extinguished. Yoruichi did not aim at Sui Feng, otherwise she would have died. Looking at Sui Feng's surprised face in the video, Tōshirō outside the video suddenly frowned. It's fine that the speed is ridiculously fast, but is it also so terrifying in terms of strength? Captain Sui Feng couldn't dodge the burst of blows and the close-range release, but Yoruichi didn't give up. 120. Byakuya Kuchiki said lightly that he and Yoruichi also have a deep relationship. What makes his Shunpo so good is that he learned the essence of it while playing with Yoruichi. Byakuya had no doubts about Shunpo's speed, but the powerful force generated by the instant burst shocked him severely. Sui Feng yelled, then turned his head to look at the ground and remained silent. The video screen continues to play. Yoruichi put away his posture and said lightly, "Why haven't I shown you this trick until now, do you know?" How can it be? Sui Feng's father was shocked. What she is proud of has already been owned by others. At this moment, her belief has already collapsed. That's because this move is too dangerous. Yoruichi raised his hand again, aiming at Sui Feng with lightning-like arrogance. Unconvinced, Sui Feng rushed towards Yoruichi, and she stabbed Suzumebachi. Stop it. However, time seemed to stand still. Sui Feng's arm was covered by Yoruichi's hand without warning. This trick is too early for you. While Yoruichi was speaking, Sui Feng's telepathy gradually collapsed. Destroy the opponent's Kido by reversing the Kido with the same mass as the opponent. Sui Feng seemed to understand, but facing her level of punch speed and Kido's pressure, Yoruichi's instant and easy defense made her unacceptable. Why, I am better than you, I should have surpassed you. She attacked Yoruichi again, but Yoruichi blocked them all. This 100 years of isolation should have weakened your strength and strengthened mine, but why are you still ahead of me until now? Sui Feng gradually lost his mind, ran away, and roared. Do you still want to dominate me? Answer me, Yoruichi. At this time, the screen changed. Did you see, Xiao Ling, the one sitting on the sedan chair is Tianqi Bing's Wang Fan, the princess of Shihuan, and one day she will become an important figure in the head of the criminal army. 11. Sui Feng's father looked at Yoruichi in a floral robe, and said to his daughter beside him, our B family will dedicate everything to her. This is us, and it is also your job and destiny. From today on, you will change your name to Sui Feng and be born because of her. Little Sui Feng raised his head, staring at the beautiful princess with a bun, his eyes full of admiration. Nani, Sui Feng and Yoruichi have such a relationship? Kurosaki Ichigo's pupils exploded outside the video. But why are the two of them still fighting? Ichigo was puzzled. That's how Captain Sui Feng's name came from. I thought Sui Feng was her real name. Renji was also, shocked, and immediately complained. Captain Sui Feng's character, Xiao Ling, is completely if it doesn't match her temperament, Sui Feng is better. This is the fate of Captain Sui Feng. Looking at Sui Feng, who was still a little girl in the video, Inoue Orihime's face was full of pity. She couldn't figure out the family connection between nobles. It's like the bond between the Hyuga family and the branch house, which cannot be avoided or escaped. Seirei. Captain Sui Feng bears such a family order. Kira looked at Sui Feng in surprise. Sui Feng didn't speak, and remained silent. Her Feng family has been a lower-level noble who lives by execution and assassination for generations, and strength is everything she pursues. Because if you can't enter the criminal army, you will be exiled from the clan. For the family, but also for myself. And from the first time he saw Yoruichi, Sui Feng had a very strong longing for her, That kind of feeling may have surpassed longing, almost admiration. Yoruichi, you are my god. Back to the video. Sui Feng sees Your Excellency the Legion Commander. Sui Feng knelt down outside the house. At this time she was already the guard of Changku. Oh, here we come. Sitting on a chair, Yoruichi said playfully, have you heard about it? Yes, from now on, Sui Feng will risk his whole body and mind, Your Excellency, Commander of the Guardian Army. It's really blunt, so please excuse me, just call it casually, such as, Yoruichi. It's too impolite. How can you address Your Excellency the Legion Commander like that? Sui Feng panicked immediately, but seeing Yoruichi's resolute look, he still asked, then can I call you, Master Yoruichi? What a stubborn guy, forget it, do as you like. Yoruichi was also speechless. She brought Sui Feng with her because she liked Sui Feng's strength. As soon as the scene changed, Yoruichi was walking in the corridor, surrounded by Xing Jun bowing. She specially walked to Sui Feng's side and asked, how is it, Sui Feng, have you gotten used to working in the guard room? Yes, Your Excellency, Legion Commander. Sui Feng, who was questioned, was very excited and nodded quickly. Ah, what's that sound? Buzz 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 buzz. Yoruichi turned his head and seemed to be looking for something, and suddenly came to Sui Feng's side, and patted her on the forehead. I found it, no wonder it's noisy, there's a little bee here. Captain Yoruichi is so cute. Outside the video, Rangaku said, trying to reach out and touch Tōshiro's head, but Tōshirō noticed him, and a look made her stop. The interaction between Yoruichi and Captain Sui Feng is so sweet, I can't believe they will fight. Hinamori Momo looked puzzled. Sui Feng didn't react on the surface, but seeing the moment of interaction between herself and Yoruichi again, her heart was very sweet. And now that the conflict between her and Yoruichi has been resolved, she just hates Urahara Kazuki, that's all. Sui Feng in the picture feels pampered, nervous and shy, and doesn't know what to say, hesitating. Didn't I tell you to call me Yoruichi? But, Master Yoruichi. That's fine too. Yoruichi smiled contentedly, and quacked the cowhide in the way of flirting with the girl. She is no longer a flash goddess, but a provocative goddess. Under the moon, next to the sakura tree, Sui Feng slashed wildly with a knife. She regretted her lack of ability. How can I protect Yoruichi-sama like this? But at this moment, a wonderful touch made her stop swinging the knife in her hand. Yoruichi came from behind, stuck behind Sui Feng, and grabbed her hand holding the knife. Listen, Sui Feng, this is how the sword should be swung. As she spoke, she drove Sui Feng's movements, teaching her step by step without any rush. Under the moonlight, sakura petals are falling, and the two figures know each other and depend on each other. Sui Feng felt that what he did was not good enough. Don't blame yourself too much, you did well enough. Yoruichi comforted her. No, it's not enough. To protect Lord Yoruichi, my strength is still. Sui Feng lowered his head, full of self-blame. No, all the pigs are not far enough. Yoruichi touched Sui Feng's head and said softly, that's enough, you are very similar to me, just like my sister. For a man like me, that's too much for you to say. I've said enough. Yoruichi lay down, leaned on Sui Feng's lap, looked at the moon hanging in the sky, and said, today is a full moon. As if entrusting something, she closed her eyes and fell asleep slowly. The petals kept falling. Sui Feng looked sincerely, and raised his hand to stroke Yoruichi's purple hair. I will always be by your side to protect you forever. Well, we made a deal. Yoruichi closed his eyes, but agreed. Is the relationship between Yoruichi and Sui Feng so good? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video wondered. Originally thought that the two of them were like the master-servant relationship between Long Xian and Katagira, but did not expect the two to be so close. Seirei. Everyone saw the story of Yoruichi and Sui Feng, and immediately understood what happened. Why Sui Feng has such hostility towards Yoruichi. That is, the deeper the love, the deeper the hate. The video footage returns to the battle. Everything was so sudden, you didn't even say goodbye to me, you just disappeared from my face, we made an agreement. The corner of Sui Feng's mouth twitched. Yoruichi was her master whom she respected like a god, but he completely betrayed her. I am so disappointed in you, I hate you, I even curse you, and I swear to gain power over you. As he said that, Sui Feng ran away, and the moment was already gathered in the palm of his hand. With these hands of mine, I will capture you myself. Yoruichi, who betrayed her dignity and belief, is the pain of her life. Boom. A flash of lightning crashed down like a thunderbolt. That force destroyed the ground behind Yoruichi like a tunnel, but she was merciful, and her fist stopped in front of Sui Feng's forehead. Why? Sui Feng sobbed uncontrollably, tears pouring down like rain. Yoruichi was silent. The mistakes he made should not be borne by Sui Feng. With a plop, Sui Feng knelt down. Why didn't you take me with you at that time too? Master Yoruichi. Open black lens bracket Shihuan Yoruichi vs Sui Feng. Victory, big victory, close black lens bracket. When the video reaches this point, Yoruichi's record will be played. Seirei. That's why the captain fought Yoruichi. Omeda suddenly realized. This time Sui Feng didn't hit him, but just stared at the video screen. She was thinking about what it would have been like if she had left with Yoruichi. Urahara store. Yoruichi has turned into human form, she can understand Sui Feng's feelings for her. He is also very aware of how much trauma he has caused Sui Feng by leaving without an explanation. But if Sui Feng couldn't even bear these things, then he really misjudged him at the time. And now that the two have reconciled, as long as Sui Feng is not allowed to see Urahara Kazuki, everything will be fine. At this point the video continues to play. The Ice Palace in New World City. Killer Kiosk and Nakruval, who has the holy text ability D, defeated Kurosaki Ichigo. Both Orihime and Sato who came over saw this tragic image. Ichigo wanted to say something to the two, but Chadu jumped up, Titan's right arm. But the fist didn't hit Askin's body, because Sato suddenly lost all his strength. I can't stand up. Askin saw through the state of the two of them. This is the poisonous swimming pool he created. Once you step into this swimming pool, although you won't die, you can still reduce the tolerance of the things I specify. The thing I designated this time is spirit particles. In other words, you are now in this real-world city where the concentration of spirit particles is extremely high, and you will be poisoned by spirit particles. You said spirit seeds were poisoned? Sato was dumbfounded, it was the first time he heard this term. Askin explained his ability. My ability is called lethal dose, which is to control the lethal dose of specified things and put the enemy to death. At this point in the video, Aizen, who was in the Void Knight Palace, was shocked, which was a rare surprise for him. Lethal dose. This Quincy is interesting. The concept of spirit seed poisoning aroused Aizen's strong interest. And Askin's ability is not limited to spirit seed poisoning, as long as it is in his poison pool, the tolerance of all things is controlled by Askin. In a way, this ability is almost unsolvable. Yuhabach, do you still have such men? After a brief shock, Aizen smiled. The Invisible Empire, the Palace of Ice. What about the king? What about the mixed blood? Won't I still be beaten to the ground? Askin smiled faintly. As Yuhabach's personal guard, he was not surprised by this result. Shout, I guess it was a sneak attack that won the victory. Bambietta snorted coldly. Askin waved his hand. Yeah, sneak attack is also a victory, isn't it? The screen continues to play. Askin continued to explain. And if I want to specify something, I have to ingest that thing. For example, to specify blood, I have to drink a lot of blood, but now I drink too much. Milk coffee, my stomach can't hold it anymore. I hope you will stay here honestly. Oh, there is another guy who talks strangely, and his opponent can't move, so he can just strangle him to death. Suddenly, the knight appeared like a bat hanging upside down from the pillar. Askin glanced at the back, and said calmly, Are you serious? Bambi said the same thing before, and I was very upset when I heard it, and I am even more upset after hearing it now. Really, there must be a limit to being stupid. Annoyed, Askin kicked him away. After dodging, Yoruichi easily landed on the ground, squinting and contemptuously asking, Why, do you mean looking down on your opponent by being elegant? No, manipulating the lethal dose is my usual style, and strangulation is more suitable for women like you and Bumby. Yoruichi seemed to understand that she was being underestimated, and she condensed Ryotsu. Boom. The golden thunder and lightning spread instantly. Shatter everything with thunder. Chapter 85. Instant Coax Thunder God's Battle Form. Beauty's Way of Fighting, subscription required. Urahara store. Yoruichi saw Askin's sloppy and disgusting look, a contemptuous smile formed on the corner of his mouth. She just likes to teach such ignorant people a lesson. Yeah, listening to that guy's self-report, it seems that his ability is not simple. A flash of surprise flashed in Urahara Kazuki's eyes. This ability to control the so-called lethal dose was very different from normal battles. Maybe if you are not careful, you will fall into Askin's trick. Tessai Tsukabishi frowned, agreeing with Kazuki. Isn't Giselle in the Quincy also able to use blood to make enemies into zombies and obey her own control? Which pseudo-mother are you talking about? Kazuki covered his face with a fan, secretly smiled thoughtfully, and continued. Giselle does use blood, but he is limited to blood, but Yas Gold can also form attacks through other mirrors, and Giselle and Askin are not on the same level at all. Control the value of the specified substance, thereby destroying the opponent's cell activity and physiological functions. This ability is very pervert. Hearing what you said, I instantly felt, he is very hateful. Yoruichi didn't have much dislike for Askin just now, but after listening to Kazuki's explanation, he instantly felt disgusted in every way. What she has to face is such an opponent, maybe it is not so easy to defeat Askin. But the outfit you wore in the video is pretty good. Urahara Kazuki grinned at the corner of his mouth, and turned his eyes to the knight. In the video, Yoruichi is wearing an orange jumpsuit, but inside is a set of leather tights, which highlights his figure very much. Yoruichi smiled softly. This is how I can display my usual abilities. The Invisible Empire, the Palace of Ice. Askin, what do you mean? Bambietta was a little unhappy. What do you mean by acting like a woman like her? When the other party loses his action, it is not a matter of course to kill him. Fighting is not a game. If you don't die, I will die. With Askin's grinding and chirping fighting style, it will be over sooner or later. Askin glanced at Bambietta disdainfully, twitched the corner of his mouth, and said lightly, If fighting is not about enjoying the process, then what's the point, little? He has his own fighting philosophy, and usually deliberately reveals his flaws, uses routines to trick opponents into revealing their flaws, and then makes a surprise move. In other words, it is the sixth child. However, he enjoys this process very much, although he also feels that the ability of Lethal Dose is not as good as the ability of other personal guards or Quincy divisions. He likes to torture his opponents with his own fighting style. He is inferior and conceited at the same time. Bambietta shouted, but did not engage in a verbal confrontation with him. After all, Askin is Yuhabach's personal guard, so she dare not be too presumptuous. Seirei. Did Yoruichi turn on instant coaxing directly, and the lightning like Ryotsu produced is actually much stronger than when he fought Captain Sui Feng before? Omeda's eyes widened in disbelief. If Yoruichi used this power to deal with Sui Feng at that time, it would be an instant kill. Sui Feng nodded. Yoruichi's Shuo is of thunder attribute, and mine is of wind attribute. In contrast, his own wind attribute instant coax has extremely strong destructive power, but it is more like a physical property, producing blows, while Yoruichi's thunder attribute instant coax is more focused on speed. Return to the video screen. Facing Askin's ridicule, Yoruichi just smiled lightly, and said immediately, I don't know who that woman named Bumby is, but you want to say that's how beautiful women fight, don't you? This point cannot be denied by Askin, and he spread his hands and said, you and Bambi are indeed beautiful women, but the value of a woman does not lie in that face. Saying that, he jerked his arm at Yoruichi, and unleashed divine loss, and roared, it's about dressing up. What kind of aesthetics does Askin have? Yoruichi's outfit is obviously great. Jingle Chunshui outside the video disagrees with Askin's gaze. After Yoruichi used the instant coaxing, the orange coat has been ripped apart by Ryotsu, leaving only the black one piece, and it is a very sexy one piece, which is really wow. Ahem, Captain Yoruichi's outfit is indeed at the forefront of the trend. Yushiro coughed lightly, and looked at Jingle Chunshui with a faint smile. Seeing this, the corner of Rukia's mouth twitched, unable to complain, thinking that Captain Yushiro should not be led astray by Captain Jingle. In the picture, Askin shoots out the light arrow of Spiritual Sun. Yoruichi's expression suddenly became serious. He kicked his legs lightly, his body rushed forward like a bolt of lightning, grabbed the light arrow that was shooting rapidly in midair with his bare hands, and threw it back with his backhand. Askin didn't react at all, and his shoulder was shot by his own light arrow. I'm sorry, although you are an interesting man, unfortunately, I have something urgent to go now. Yoruichi smiled again. Suspended in midair, she drew circles with her hands in front of her. Instant coaxing. Thunder God battle form. Suddenly, like the god of thunder coming into the world, countless fierce lightning burst out from Yoruichi's body. Even Yoruichi's form has changed, with thunderous horns resembling the god of thunder appearing on his head, and a ring in the shape of a taiko drum hovering behind him. Just like the thunder ring behind General Raiden, and Yoruichi's thunder is golden yellow, more dazzling. At this moment, she is like the god of thunder, sacred and inviolable. Yoruichi still has this form. Kurosaki Ichigo, outside the video, felt incredible. Since the broadcast of him and Yoruichi in the bathhouse, it used to be okay, but now whenever I see Yoruichi's dress is too revealing, I will blush. But this time, what surprised him was not Yoruichi's leather jacket, but Thor's form. Originally, he thought that instant coaxing was just a high-level fighting style, which was incomparable with Zanpakuto's Bankai. But now he found that he was too ignorant. The instant coaxing in Thor's form is already stronger than many captain-level Bankai. No wonder Yoruichi is ranked 29th, he sighed with emotion. Seirei. Yoruichi's instant coaxing also has a unique trick. Kira's eyes widened, this scene was too shocking. It was an eye-opener for him to get to this point without Zanpakuto. The rest of the vice-captains and chief executives were also stunned. Yeah, don't be surprised, Captain Yoruichi can be ranked 29th, she must have a unique skill. Jingle Chunshui smiled lightly. Before Sui Feng faced 9, he used infinite instant coaxing. Of course, he can guarantee that Sui Feng has not yet mastered the ability of infinite instant coaxing. But since her instant coaxing can have derivative skills, then Yoruichi's Thunder God battle form is also expected. Even though it's a lightning-type flash, the Thunder God battle form is so handsome, it's just like the captain's Bankai. Yamada Hanataro sighed with emotion. Sui Feng frowned, and at the same time he was unwilling, but with a trace of joy, he thought. Master Yoruichi, I still haven't been able to catch up with your footsteps. The video screen continues. Yoruichi, the god of thunder, suspended in midair, waved slightly. Boom. A large pillar of thunder suddenly soared into the sky, and the dazzling light covered the entire real-world city. Askin was submerged in the lightning, and the lightning that fell on him directly overloaded the ability of the lethal dose. As the lightning strikes end, buildings in the real-world city begin to collapse. At this time, Inoue Orihime was still confined in the poisonous swimming pool. Seeing that the falling rock was about to hit her, a black whip was stretched out, wrapped around her body, and took her away. Ah! Inoue Orihime didn't know what happened, only felt a sense of falling, but the next second he was hugged by Yoruichi. After the hero saved the beauty, Yoruichi put down Inoue Orihime and asked her to heal herself first, and said, When you are stable, go to heal Ichigo and Sato, and then you go first. Miss Yoruichi. You? Orihime hesitated. She was a little worried about Yoruichi, facing Askin who defeated Ichigo. Yoruichi was probably no match, and she might be able to help some by staying. Don't worry. Yoruichi turned around smartly, showing a confident smile. After I confirm his body, follow him. But at this moment, hurried footsteps came. Yoruichi glanced at the source of the sound vigilantly, but suddenly a sister made her react. Slightly leaning back, Shihuan hugged him and fell directly to the rubble pile. Isn't that the current patriarch of Shihuan? Omeda outside the video froze for a moment. Sui Feng showed an unobstructed look of disgust. She and Shishiro had a pretty good relationship. But why did he appear on the battlefield? Looking back, the Soul Society was about to be destroyed by the Quincy. As one of the four nobles, the Shihuan patriarch appeared normally, and it seems that Yushiro should meet again for the first time after Yoruichi left. Yoruichi actually killed the Quincy directly. As her younger brother, Yushiro. Captain Sui Feng, be careful that he will take away the position of captain of the second team. Jingle Chunshui joked. Sui Feng glanced at him. Impossible. In the video, Yushiro immediately turned around and grabbed Yoruichi's arm. But Yoruichi hit Yushiro on the forehead with his head hard, and he fell to the ground in pain. I lost. Yushiro, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you help Kazuki and the others? Yoruichi crossed his arms and said angrily, but there are a group of captain-level people over there, and I don't need me anymore. I think I should help my sister more, so I came here. Yushiro said excitedly, and wanted Yoruichi to praise him for being sensible. But Yoruichi stared at Yushiro like a demon with his eyes shining. Oh, you want to help me? Yes. Yushiro looked at Yoruichi expectantly. Shishiro, during my absence, your strength seems to have become stronger. Yes. Yushiro wept with joy. I'm so happy that you understand me, Yushiro. Yushiro is already very strong. Seeing this, Yoruichi twitched the corner of his mouth, slapped his forehead suddenly, and complained. This guy is so dumb that he can't even understand sarcasm. Sister, you actually want to satirize such a cute little brother like me? Outside the video, at Shihuan's house, Shishiro directly shed tears of grievance. 0. Ask for flowers. Moreover, I have really changed my cards. The real Ichigo shook his head, surprised that Yoruichi also has a younger brother, but at the same time complaining that the two siblings are idiots. Return to the video screen. Yushiro, who didn't understand what Yoruichi meant, was still thanking his sister, but suddenly a figure emerged from the thick fog of the explosion just now. Okay. Askin came out of the smoke. Let's stop here if it's sad. Not dead. Yoruichi was shocked, but quickly calmed down, turned his head and smiled coldly. It seems that you didn't understand the content of our conversation. What makes a child cry is not necessarily a sad word. Oh, really? Askin looked at each other with a smile. Then this irrelevant conversation should be over quickly. At this time, Ichigo suddenly got up. Yoruichi knew what he said just now, and Ichigo heard everything, and was surprised by how quickly Ichigo recovered, so he said, You heard everything, you go first, and I will follow. Ichigo was not pretentious, nodded and said, I understand, Miss Yoruichi, you have to be careful. Who are you talking to like that? How could I lose to him? The haughty Yoruichi glanced at Ichigo. Without delay, Ichigo and Orihime Sato went straight away. Looking at the backs of the three leaving, Askin was a little embarrassed. He scratched his head. Let them run over. His Majesty should be angry in a while. You don't have to worry about that. He won't be angry, because whether it's Yuhabach or you, I will take care of it. Yoruichi's confident smile covered her entire face. She believed in Ichigo, and even more in Urahara Kazuki. The throne of the Invisible Empire. Beat me, heh heh heh. Zero Yuhabach laughed. He became interested in this woman who could turn into a cat. The instant Thunder God form is indeed very strong. However, under the command of Askin, who I bestowed with the holy text ability D-lethal dose, you will not easily live. Would you just let Kurosaki Ichigo go, Askin? You are too useless, Bambietta said coldly. It can be seen that Askin's mission is to stop Kurosaki Ichigo. But in the end, he was rescued by Ichigo's companions, and His Majesty will definitely blame him. This is the situation that Bambietta wants to see. Even if it's my negligence, but, Bambi, don't you trust His Majesty? Askin said lightly. This sentence made Bambietta panic. I don't usually see Askin being so strong. What the hell is going on today? Beat me? Just rely on your weak chicken move called Thor. It's really troublesome. Askin in the video sighed. It's Thunder God battle form. Askin didn't react much, but Yushiro roared angrily. How dare you insult big sister? I will deal with you. Oh, you want to fight, little girl? Let me declare first. Even if you were empty-handed, I already know how to use a bow and arrow. As he said that, Askin had already pulled the string of divine annihilation. Shishiro became even more angry, and shouted, I'm a man. Oh yeah, that was a real loss. Askin showed a mocking smile, but in the next second, Yushiro's fist hit him on the nose, causing nosebleeds to come out. The other person was stunned, and quickly stretched out his hand to stop him. Wait a minute, what are you doing? You are quite powerful. Originally, I wanted to find a soft persimmon to pinch, but it turned out that one was stronger than the other. It goes without saying that I am the 20th third-generation head of the Shihuan family, Shihuan Yushiro Sakamune. There is no reason why I would lose to a mere Quincy Master. Instant coaxing, explosive flame warriors. Yushiro waved his fist. A huge flame bomb was sent out suddenly, and the violent explosion produced a fiery wave, which raised the temperature of the entire real-world city a lot. Askin was burned directly in it. Seredi. Ah. It looks like Captain Sui Feng's position is really at stake. Jingle Chunshui secretly smiled. The corners of Sui Feng's mouth twitched. It was obvious that Yushiro's fire attribute instant coaxing was stronger than his own infinite instant coaxing in terms of explosion. I didn't expect this kid to grow so strong. In terms of explosive power, it not only even surpasses Yoruichi's Thunder God battle form. Her heart tightened. Shishiro, don't really take his job away. Really, it's too messy. Yoruichi complained in the video. If I hadn't injured him beforehand, I don't know what would have happened. Sorry, sister. But forget it, it is worthy of praise to be able to play out the instant coaxing I just taught you so proficiently. Oh, is it so powerful that I just learned it? Askin's voice came out of the smoke again. The damage he received this time was worse than last time. Most of his clothes were burned. Seeing that Askin was still alive, Yoruichi and Yushiro frowned in disbelief. Hey, what kind of expression is that? You should have heard it before. I can control the lethal amount of specified things by ingesting a large amount. Thank you for giving me Pang Tianyuan pressure that is enough to kill me. Askin's eyes sank. Now you're Ryotsu. Can't kill me. Chapter 86. Special Records Combat Power Exposure. Where's Yoruichi's cattail? Seeking subscription. After being coaxed by Yushiro for a moment, can you still walk out standing up? Urahara store. Yoruichi was overwhelmed. Although Shunhao Bangen Wushuang was taught to Yushiro by himself in the future, but judging from the scale of the explosion just now, it is not inferior to the thunder and lightning attack of the Thunder God battle form. Who is that Quincy named Askin? She didn't know that Askin was Yuhabach's personal guard, but she thought he was stronger than ordinary Quincy. But now it seems that the strong is not a little bit. After being coaxed by the siblings one after another, it might have been cool to put it on the other Quincy Masters. Judging from the appearance of Askin in the video, he is not only fine, but also seems to have controlled Ryotsu amount. Yoruichi's heart tightened. It seemed that he was not the opponent. Invisible Empire. Can this level of attack kill me? Askin smiled contemptuously. After all, he is also Yuhabach's personal guard. Although he is not as strong as the other three, he is not the guy who is ranked 29th and can be defeated. The video screen continues to play. Askin walked out of the smoke, and wiped his hair with his hands, just like when Aizen rebelled, he wiped his hair with the same hairspray. The wound has healed. Yoruichi's expression was serious, because she found that the wounds on Askin's body were gradually recovering, and she even felt that Askin had an immortal body. It's a matter of course. Askin said briskly. By increasing the lethal dose, one's own immunity will be improved, and thus immune to some attacks. Looking at Yoruichi, who was stunned and couldn't believe it, he continued to mock. Are you so surprised that you can't speak? If you don't hurry up, you will be killed. It is impossible for you to cause any harm to me anymore. Hearing this, Shishiro rushed forward instantly, and the two wing-like breaths made him shunpo extremely fast. Instant coaxing. 0-20. Wait, Yushiro. Seeing Yushiro being so reckless, Yoruichi wanted to stop him. But Yushiro had already hit Askin in the abdomen, but there was no reaction. Don't you understand? I've already tried this trick, and I'm already immune. Yaschit provoked, and 3 light arrows of Lingza suddenly shot into Yushiro's back from behind. Seeing this, Yoruichi rushed directly to Yushiro without caring about anything else. It's too late. Your understanding of my ability seems to be more slow than I imagined. This is fatal, Shihuan Yoruichi. Askin sneered. This world, written by Kurosaki Ichigo, is also very tense. Miss Yoruichi, it seems that you are no match at all. Ichigo murmured, knowing that when the video started, he had already been defeated by Askin. And the self in this period is definitely stronger than the self that appeared in the previous video. Doesn't this mean that Zubai is no match for Askin? Miss Yoruichi is already very powerful, but the ability of Quincy is almost incomprehensible. Inoue Orihime's eyes moved, and he was worried for Yoruichi from the bottom of his heart. In the video, I was rescued by Yoruichi, but I left Yoruichi behind. Orihime felt guilty about that. Not to mention Captain Yoruichi, even Captain Zaraki may not have a better solution. Renji frowned tightly, and the captain who is good at hand-to-hand combat is Zaraki Kenpachi. The abilities of the other captains will be more or less restrained by the Death Emperor. But with such pervert lethality, Renji doesn't think Kenpachi can defeat him. The video screen continues. There was a violent explosion. Askin lay directly on the ground, looked up at the sky, and sighed. Hey, I didn't dodge a step, and I didn't die. I can really feel that I am getting farther and farther away from death. If immunization is the ultimate way to keep people away from death, then it is thanks to immunization. What do you think, Shihuan Yoruichi? At this moment, Yoruichi was already limp on the ground. But she was not in the mood to listen to Askin's self-talk, so she insisted on raising her head and sneered, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking to yourself, so I didn't listen carefully." "You can't hear at all, can you?" Askin sat up, and said indifferently. "I injected a mixed poisonous balloon mixed with spirit seed oxygen and nitrogen into your body, and you probably don't have the energy to listen to those meaningless self-talks. Speaking of which, I am a little surprised that he is still alive in such a state. You're the one. You played with various lethal doses, but you didn't kill me or make me feel better. To be honest, I'm also very surprised." In fact, Yoruichi had already seen through Askin's mind, not because he was incapable of killing himself, but because he deliberately prepared a dose that would make him half dead. "You are wrong, I have worked very hard, if it were someone else, I would have died long ago." Askin closed his eyes, and continued indifferently. "You are like a monster, but you speak as if I didn't exert any strength, which hurts me a lot." Yoruichi didn't have the strength to argue with Askin, and looked at Yushiro who fell not far away, and she frowned tightly. If Yushiro continues to maintain this state, he will definitely die, but with her current strength, there is no cure. It's useless. Askin came to Yoruichi in an instant. "I don't know what you were planning, but you have no extra strength, even at such a close distance, you can't react. With the current situation, no matter what Yoruichi intends to do, he can block it first. You think it's deadly, right, Shihuan Knight?" Askin's taunt made Yoruichi sick. "That's right, it's deadly if your clothes get stuck, Ms. Yoruichi." Suddenly, Urahara Kazuki appeared behind Yoruichi, facing her pouted pout, and slapped her with a fan. Boom. Following Kazuki's voice, Yoruichi kicked directly, hitting Kazuki's jaw. "It hurts, jaw." Kazuki suddenly turned on his back. "Dude, does this look like a man with no strength?" "Miss Yoruichi, why are you kicking me?" Off the video, Urahara Kazuki glances at Yoruichi beside him and complains. "How dare you say that? Where are you looking?" Yoruichi didn't give Kazuki a good look. "Ahem, I can't help it either, who told you to maintain that posture?" Kazuki covered his smile with a fan. Boom. Suddenly, Kazuki felt a pain in his jaw, but this time Yoruichi didn't use his feet, but his fists. "Seirei. Kazuki, this guy is really out of tune." Jingle Chunshui smiled on the surface, and sighed inwardly. How could this be Urahara Kazuki's angle again? Why did that be ******* D rush over here? Sui Feng frowned, although he was very upset, but now he could only pin his hopes on him. Omeda looked forward to it. "I really want to see how strong the former director of the technical bureau is." 17. Return to the video screen. After being kicked, Urahara Kazuki covered his face and complained. "I came all the way to help you, why are you still kicking me?" "You still ask me why I kicked you, don't you know?" Yoruichi glanced at him, and said angrily, "Turn your eyes away." "I'm sorry, the words I just used were really too low level." Assistant suddenly pretended to be serious. "That's not why you got kicked, don't touch my black piece eye while apologizing," Yoruichi complained helplessly. Outside the video, Yoruichi punches Kazuki in the face again. "Playing hooligans, right?" And Askin recognized Kazuki in the video. "Is that Urahara Kazuki? Here comes another troublesome guy." "Yo, you know me." Kazuki was stunned for a moment, as if he was flattered, and said, "It's a great honor." "It doesn't matter whether I know it or not, I don't know you well, but you are one of the special forces that His Majesty has emphasized." Askin knew that the guy in front of him was much more difficult to deal with than Shihuan Yoruichi. "One of the special combat powers?" Sui Feng outside the video was shocked. "Then how could the B******** D be a special combat power? How did Yuhabach shoot it? Is there something wrong with his brain?" She cursed angrily. Although she knows that Kazuki, like Kurotsuchi Mayuri, has many inventions, she doesn't know her true strength. Moreover, Kazuki is a hidden person, but if Yuhabach is included in the so-called special combat power, then he is definitely not weak. Yeah, special combat power, this title seems to be quite prestigious. I don't know if any of us here have won this title. Jingle Chunshui smiled incongruously. Urahara Kazuki does have a lot of means, but is it too exaggerated to be ranked in the Special Force Company? Kurotsuchi Mayuri was dissatisfied. First of all, the special combat power sounds very high-end. Furthermore, this title was bestowed by Yuhabach. As the ancestor of the Quincy, it is impossible for Kurotsuchi Mayuri not to know the strength of Yuhabach. Everything seems reasonable. One of the special strengths, so to speak, Kazuki is the strongest among our Shinigami. Yushiro glanced around and said lightly. Kenpachi smiled. Interesting, special combat power, this title is quite suitable for me. The captain is definitely a special combat power, Madarame Mikaku said decisively, although he knew that the former captain of the 12th Division was definitely not weak, but Captain Zaraki, who has the title of Kenpachi, is definitely a top existence. Gong Shin nodded in agreement. Urahara Kazuki is one of the special combat powers, which means there are other special combat powers, and the captain is 100% among them. Bachin Liu rolled his eyes and smiled playfully. Ajian is here, Mr. Bai is here, and the captain is here too. It's impossible for the chief to be in the team. Shu Bing was stunned. The chief should be a person of the level given the title. That's right, I was negligent. Yachinryu scratched his head foolishly. In the video screen, facing the title of Special Combat Strength, Kazuki's face suddenly darkened. I'm really flattered to be given such an amazing title. If so, I'm very lucky, but you really flattered me. Come on, Miss Yoruichi. Snapped. Kazuki slapped Yoruichi Heppu suddenly. Yoruichi seemed to recover his strength, and instantly flew into the air. Seeing this, Askin was stunned. What happened? Why is Shihu and Yoruichi able to move? Could it be that my lethal dose was lifted by Urahara Kazuki? He suddenly felt terrified. Is this the special combat power that His Majesty has emphasized? No, it should be said that as I have heard, Urahara Kazuki is the means of the unknown. No matter what tricks they use, Kazuki can break them one by one. Askin sighed. Oh, what are you doing? Why do you always let me meet such troublesome guys? Yoruichi was also puzzled, and asked what medicine Kazuki gave her, but Kazuki didn't tell her. If you don't tell me, I can roughly guess it. At this time, you're listening to me. The immune booster that we made while we were talking, right? As expected of Ms. Yoruichi, she understood really quickly, but because the preparation was too hasty, the effect of the medicine was very short. Kazuki explained. How long will it last? 5 minutes. Yoruichi smiled lightly. 5 minutes was enough. She wanted to use the instant coaxing Thunder God battle form, but was suddenly stopped by Kazuki, who whispered. You use that. No, I don't want to show that unfinished ugly pose again. Yoruichi knew what Kazuki meant and quickly refused. Kazuki smiled. Is that so? It's a pity, in this case, although it's my intention, I can only force it. But suddenly, an arrow of spiritual light shot. Of course it was Askin who did it. Yoruichi rushed over immediately, but the other party easily dodged. She didn't believe in evil, but Askin seemed to have really gained immunity. She was not right at all. Hand. Instead, he was beaten to the ground by Askin's punch. No matter how hard you recover, it's impossible for you to win me who can punch a poisonous ball into your body when your body is in a perfect state. Askin sneered coldly. At this time, Kazuki took out a piece of cardboard, on which was written in large characters, it's now, let's transform. Yoruichi is no longer in ink. She knows that she can't beat her opponent without changing her body. Boom. An extremely strong Ryatsu erupted, and Askin was directly sent flying out. He didn't know what happened and looked down. Yoruichi has cat ears and cattails, his body is covered by lightning, and he has changed into a half-human, half-animal form. What kind of gesture is this? Askin's surprised face showed a hint of fear. Yoruichi ignored him, and even spat out Thunderbolt from his mouth. Why, don't ignore me. Shunlong Thunderbeast battle form. Shunlong Black Cat Warrior. Yes. These two words were added by she, and Askin couldn't hear the name of the move. Askin was taken aback, and turned to look at Kazuki. What is it? Why did you answer me? Could it be that guy can't communicate with us now? Kazuki didn't answer, just smiled lightly. The next moment, Yoruichi, who was like a cat demon, sprints towards him with an outrageously fast speed. What's going on? Why is Yoruichi still in this state? Sui Feng outside the video shrank his pupils suddenly, unable to believe everything in front of him. Yoruichi. Why turned into a cat? Komamura Sajin was suddenly excited. It seems that Yoruichi also has a similar humanization. But before he finished talking in 1.7, he glanced at Kurotsuchi Mayuri and Tōshirō and stopped immediately. Captain Yoruichi after transformation, the speed is so fast, the improvement of this form is several times stronger than that of the simple Flash Thunderbeast battle form. Kira was shocked. This is Flash Goddess. No, Captain Yoruichi has grown a cat's tail. Where is the cat's tail? Jingle Chunshui smiled frivolously and lowered his bamboo hat. Fortunately, he was not by Yoruichi's side, otherwise he would have received 2 punches more or less. Kiksu caressed the frame of her glasses, deliberately moved away from Jingle Chunshui. Such a captain, it would be too embarrassing to speak out. Happy Urahara, Kazuki, I know everything, but I can make any potion. Kurotsuchi Mayuri ignored Komamura Sajin, but talked to himself depressedly. Invisible Empire. Askin's face darkened, and his lethal dose was broken by a simple medicine? This made him unacceptable. At this moment, even hearing Urahara Kazuki's name, his whole body trembled. Also, what the hell is that form of Shihu and Yoruichi? Is it the same humanized technique as Komamura Sajin? Turning around, Yoruichi said that she had used it before, and it could never be a humanized technique that turned into a beast once used, not to mention Urahara Kazuki's special combat power, let alone. Let Yoruichi use the self-injury move. Askin, your lethal dose doesn't work. Bambietta mocked. Askin glanced at her angrily. You don't need to remind. The Yoruichi in the picture was too fast. Askin didn't react at all. His shoulder was scratched in the blink of an eye, and he flew into the sky. He is already confused. Yoruichi's Ryatsu should be invalid for him. How can the same Shinigami change Ryatsu? Kazuki explained. It's emotions, you have to remember. Ms. Yoruichi's Ryatsu in the form of the Black Cat War Princess can change 48 times in 1 second. Chapter 87. Urankar's Last Row, Uncle Wolf Stark, seeking subscription. As soon as he heard about Yoruichi's ability, Askin immediately killed the idiot. Even if he could control the lethal dose, he couldn't deal with Ryotsu, who could do 48 times in 1 second. People often say that cats' emotions are unpredictable, and Ms. Yoruichi, who is in the form of a black cat warrior, will release Ryotsu according to her emotions. Kazuki explained with a faint smile. Look, she's not chasing you now, isn't she? This is her current emotion. Although Ms. Yoruichi is usually elusive, she will be more excited when she is in that posture. Ryotsu is directly agitated by emotions and becomes excited as well. Hearing Kazuki's explanation, not only Askin, but also everyone outside the video was incredulous. Miss Yoruichi is really unpredictable, and sometimes she will do incredible things. Kurosaki Ichigo sighed, as if the change from cat to human form had nothing to do with him. Unexpectedly, Ms. Yoruichi in this catgirl state can produce Ryotsu's emotional changes, which may be an ability that restrains Askin very much. Miss Yoruichi's form is indeed quite enchanting, but she seems to have lost some normal functions? Inoue Orihime was puzzled, because when Yoruichi uttered the name of this sub-form, only Urahara Kazuki heard it. Perhaps for some reason, this form of Yoruichi can only communicate with Urahara Kazuki. Ha ha ha. No wonder Miss Yoruichi doesn't want to change into this form easily. It turns out that there is such a restriction that I can't communicate with others. Now I can be regarded as being caught. The corners of Ichigo's mouth turned up slightly. Seirei, isn't this too strong? Ryotsu changes 48 times in 1 second, how about 5 minutes? Shubing's eyes widened, and he did some calculations. 5 minutes is 300 seconds, and a total of 14,400 Ryotsu can be changed. With this kind of frequency, even Askin who can control the lethal dose, it is impossible to capture every change of Ryotsu and change it. Even if the current Ryotsu is controlled, the amount of other Ryotsu appears in the next second. In terms of ability, this form of Yoruichi can perfectly restrain Askin. Oh, Urahara Kazuki, you are such an A*hole. Kurotsuchi Mayuri shook his head lightly, and explained. Yoruichi's ability is easy to understand. Take a cold as an example. Obviously it is not a new type of virus, but due to the antigen the S*X has changed a little bit, so the same type as before is still in fashion. No matter how the body's immunity is updated, only a few changes are needed to make some disappear. Of course, Askin's immune speed is very fast. Once attacked by the enemy, he will analyze Ryotsu reflexively and complete the immunity at an astonishing speed. It only takes 1 minute to nullify any attack of the opponent. Yoruichi's 48 Ryotsu changes per second, Askin can't be immune to it. Wonderful, wonderful. This explanation is very clear and clear. Jingle Chunshui clapped his hands, and it could be seen that Kurotsuchi Mayuri wanted to prove that he was no worse than Urahara Kazuki before he raised such a zhuang. In this case, it will be very easy for Captain Yoruichi to defeat Askin. Hinamori Momo smiled excitedly. Komamura Sajin interrupted her. Not necessarily, Captain Yoruichi's form can only be maintained for 5 minutes, and Askin must be defeated within 5 minutes. Yunohana Retsu smiled lightly. I trust Kazuki and Yoruichi. In the Invisible Empire, Askin completely lied. His ability was perfectly restrained, which made him feel very uncomfortable. But as long as it can be delayed for 5 minutes, the ending is hard to say. Otherwise, if he is defeated, he may not only be blamed by Yuhabach. In the video screen, Yoruichi's eyes were as sharp as a hunting cheetah, and with a wave of its paw, several thunderbolts came crashing down. Boom! Thunder strikes fell from the sky of the entire New World City, and Askin was instantly submerged in the thunderstrikes. Yoruichi stood tall and strong, his whole body was attached to the wall of World City, like a gecko, ready to attack at any time. But at this moment, Urahara Kazuki who was standing below suddenly took out a cat teaser and shouted at Yoruichi. Miss Yoruichi, look here, there is a cat teaser. Meow meow. Seeing the cat teaser, Yoruichi's ferocious eyes instantly became joyful, showing a happy smile, and rushed towards Kazuki. Good guy, it really turned into a cat. In the blink of an eye, Yoruichi was attracted by the cat teaser, she rubbed Kazuki's cat face, and fell asleep on Kazuki's lap again. Oh, only I can control her, and I can only rely on emotional recovery. These 2 points are flaws. Kazuki stroked the cat's head and sighed. Forget it, Miss Yoruichi like this is pretty cute, I don't care. 5 minutes are almost up, and the immune potion is about to expire. His eyes were gentle. Thank you, Ms. Yoruichi. Then you can take the poison slowly, and I will look for the corpse to see if I need to give him a fatal blow. The video playback ends here. Urahara Store, Kazuki, UB********D. I will definitely not be in this form next time. Yoruichi glared at Kazuki angrily. Because my own appearance is simply too embarrassing, if I let Kazuki see it alone, it's fine. Now everyone in the Shinigami world has seen her cat look, which makes her a little ashamed. Yeah, Ms. Yoruichi, thanks to you, otherwise Askin would not be able to be defeated, you are the hero. Urahara Kazuki grinned, took out the cat teaser from his bosom, and teased. Miss Yoruichi, do you feel about this now? Kazuki was greeted with a fist, and the corner of Yoruichi's mouth twitched. Are you an idiot? I haven't transformed? Seirei. Sui Feng was a little hard to accept that Lord Yoruichi, whom he once admired, had turned into this appearance. The cat princess form that can only be controlled by emotions, and only Urahara Kazuki can control it. This made Kazuki's image belittled again in Suifeng's heart. Although it's a very strange way of fighting, but fortunately Askin was defeated. Tōshirō was also curious, he didn't expect to be able to control Yoruichi's emotions with a simple cat teaser. This ability is really powerful and interesting, Invisible Empire. Ha ha ha, I was defeated by a cat in the end, Askin, you are really good. Bambietta sneered, this is too embarrassing for Quincy. Askin curled his lips. It is true that Yoruichi's cat princess form is a bit difficult to deal with, but he knows that he has endured this level of damage and will definitely not die, because his perfect body has not yet been opened. Yo yo yo, you won't forget how you were beaten by the dog, right? He retorted. Leiji Baroshaskin said, Bumby, you don't think that's all Askin is, do you? The same as the Yuhabach's personal guards, if they are defeated in this way, how can they still become the personal guards? Bambietta shouted, it's best not to defeat him, otherwise his majesty will not spare him. At the same time, Shihuan Yoruichi's name was engraved on the gold list of combat power. Many people questioned her ability, but after the transformation, whether it was speed or strength, those who questioned her were speechless. I even feel that Yoruichi would be ranked higher if it wasn't for the 5-minute limit. With Yoruichi's inventory over, the next one on the combat power list will be announced to the public. Open black lens bracket, the 28th place in the power list, Coyote Stark close black lens bracket. Name: Coyote Stark faction. Espada identity: Arankar. Ability: Homing Blade X, 92 defense, 90 speed, 90. 91. 90 Ryotsu, 92 combat power, 820,000 Espada's first blade, Coyote Stark. It is the existence of number 1 in Espada. Sure enough, Stark is on the list, but why is it ranked 28th? Lilinite felt a little puzzled while being pleasantly surprised. She had previously guessed that Stark's ranking was within 20, but it only appeared at 28, which was unbelievable to her. As strong as Stark's ranking is only 28th, what kind of monsters are the top 27? I guess, Stark is also the last seed in our Espada. Hurley Bell looked at Lilinette coldly. The rankings are constantly announced, and nothing is seen in the video. Even Baragan, the king of virtual circles, can't make it into the top 30, so Stark, who is also Espada, will rank in front of Baragan, but it won't be much higher. Although Hurley Bell hates Baragan, he has to admit that his strength is pervert. Shout, Stark isn't really the pinnacle of our Espada's combat power? Neutra spread his hands, maybe my name will appear on the list later. Neutra, it's fine if you call yourself the strongest in Espada, don't say such ridiculous things on this occasion, embarrassing? Grimjow was amused, you're ahead of Stark. When Aizen is blind, right? Neutra pouted, but no matter what, it's enough to be in front of you. Seredi, this should be the first edge of Espada. I really don't know what kind of ability Arankar can be ranked as the first edge of Espada. Tōshirō sighed, maybe this is the highest combat power of Aizen's subordinates, only ranked 28th? Of course it wasn't Tōshirō who questioned Stark's strength, but Aizen possessed Hobyoku, and his strength was beyond his imagination. As for the ranking of Aizen's combat power, he already has the answer in his heart, at least the top 5. So compared with Aizen, the ranking of 28 is indeed a bit low. Captain, if you can be ranked first, he has more power than Baragan's aging. It is not an easy task to defeat him, Rangaku said. Yeah, Matsumoto, Vice Captain, you have to have confidence in yourself. Askin's almost unsolvable lethal ability was defeated by Captain Yoruichi in the end. Jingle Chunshui smiled at Rangaku. Rangaku nodded. That's right, Captain Jingle's ranking hasn't been announced yet. What is Stark, who is ranked 28th? Hearing this, Jingle Chunshui hurriedly waved his hands. Haha, maybe I won't be on the list. At this time, because the video has already started playing on the screen. Karakura Town Battlefield. Jingle Chunshui and Stark, suspended in midair. The fight is in full swing over there. How about it, Mr. Espada, let's let go and play as much as we want. Jingle Chunshui stroked the bamboo hat and looked at the battlefield in the distance. After sighing with emotion, he looked at Stark ahead. I don't want to, Stark said decisively with an indifferent expression. That's not enough, it's really cold. Jingle Chunshui was surprised, he was able to paddle well enough, did not expect Stark to paddle better than himself. No, he is the first blade Stark. It doesn't look like it at all. Omida outside the video crazily complained about Stark's appearance. Other Espada, like Ulquiorra, Baragan and Hurley Bell, even Grimjow, each have their own characteristics. But Stark looks like he thinks he is an uncle. In the present world, he thinks he is just an ordinary person. Such a person is actually the first blade of Espada? It's really not like a strong man, and his attitude towards fighting is too perfunctory, Kira complained. Let's not talk about his strength. How can this guy be more lazy than Captain Jingle? Ah, such an opponent is not bad. Jingle Chunshui laughed in surprise, isn't this the battle he dreamed of? Water paddling is also very interesting, why do you want to be serious? Return to the screen. Stark could also see Jingle Chunshui's attitude, and said bluntly, I think you probably won't be serious, and you didn't even draw the second knife. The so-called short sword is a sword that is drawn when a long sword is inconvenient to use. It is not used with a long sword. Jingle Chunshui explained. Having said that, from the previous battles, Stark discovered that Jingle Chunshui used the long knife alternately in the left and right hands. He pointed to Chunshui and pointed out the problem. When you swing the knife with your left hand, the knife is closer to your body than when you swing the knife with your right hand. The distance between the left and right is different, and you can use both hands flexibly. Wearing a long sword and a short sword, you still keep saying that you are not a two-sword style. Who are you trying to lie to? Jingle Chunshui's little thought was seen through. He showed a satisfied smile. It seems that the opponent is not easy. It's such a headache. I have specially adjusted the gap between left and right. It's amazing. The eyes are so sharp. It's scary. 543 is really scary. As he said that, he swung the smallpox mad bone, and after changing hands, he quickly adjusted the distance between swinging the knife. Stark was stunned. Did he adjust the distance in an instant? He didn't see the attack just now, however, he blocked it with a knife. Not bad. Shouldn't it be time for you to get serious? Jingle Chunshui said. It's really boring to fight like this. I didn't say that. I don't want to fight you seriously. Then I want to ask in advance, Mr. Espada, if I draw 2 knives, will you be able to get serious? Hearing this, Stark's scalp tingled. Just spare me. You are already very strong now. If you really want to draw 2 knives, it will really embarrass me. That's great, then my 2 knives must be unsheathed. Saying that, Jingle Chunshui held the handle of the short sword at his waist. Stark, is your relentless attitude worthy of Master Aizen? Zamari Ruro outside the video frowned, staring at Stark viciously. It is also used as the first blade, and it does not contribute to the battle. Stark replied indifferently. It's not that I don't work hard, it's that the opponent is too strong. Is it very strong? You were defeated by Quincy ranked 40th. Don't you say that your ability is not as good as Robert's? Stark. Marley Lulu wanted an answer. And at that time, Jingle Chunshui also drew out his double knives and fought Roberta. This is no excuse at all. Lilynette was unhappy, and shouted at him. It's you fighting, or Stark fighting, can you shut up? Although she often teases Stark, she can't bear to hear that others are dissatisfied with Stark. That's right, then he'd better win, otherwise quickly give up the position of the first blade. Neutra sneered. Sereti. Captain Jingle, you two just sit down and have a drink, what's the point of fighting? Zaraki Kenpachi squinted at Jingle Chunshui. Seeing this fighting attitude made him very unhappy. If you want to fight, you can have a good fight. If you don't show your real strength like this, you are like a girl, and you are simply blaspheming the battle. Captain Zaraki, if I had your strength, I would fight him well. Jingle Chunshui smiled lightly and said perfunctorily. He just doesn't want to fight, and Bankai is too dangerous, otherwise let alone Stark, and a few more Espadas will have to be accounted for under his Bankai. Kenpachi snorted coldly. I can't see Stark's true level like this, it's boring. On screen. Hearing that Jingle Chunshui was about to pull out the second knife, Stark sighed. Is it really this far? Immediately he spun out, Jingle Chunshui Shunpo followed, and the two Zanpakuto collided fiercely to produce a great Emperor spark. I originally wanted to dodge around leisurely until the battle is over, but it seems to have become a luxury. After the blow, Stark stepped back and sighed. That's really pleasing, according to my estimation, among the 3 of you. Chunshui looked at Hurley Bell and Baragan. That child is ranked 3rd, and that old grandpa is ranked 1st. You are the old man. 2. Did I guess right? Chapter 88. The Paddle Duo, Jingle Chunshui's Despair, Seeking Subscription. Jingle Chunshui made this judgment because he saw the battle between Holly Bell and Baragan. Facing Tōshirō was once in a suppressed form, but compared with the Espada in front of her, Holly Bell is obviously not capable enough. And the old man Baragan completely crushed Sui Feng and Omeda. His ability to age makes him rank 1st without a doubt. Void Knight Palace. What the hell, Captain, you can't even analyze your strength. It's obvious that Stark is 3rd. Lilynette grinned. She didn't have a good impression of Jingle Chunshui, and she often complained about Stark's laziness, but she didn't expect this guy to be the same as Stark. If it was a captain like Sui Feng or Tōshirō, he probably would have fought with Stark for real. HMPH, it seems that Shinigami has a good eye, the old man should be ranked 1st. Baragan is full of affection for Jingle Chunshui. In his opinion, his ability to control aging is much stronger than Stark. I didn't expect that B********** D Aizen to rank God 2nd. Baragan cursed inwardly. As the king of Hueco Mundo, even if you are under Aizen, you can't be ranked under an Arankar. Are you questioning Lord Aizen? Baragan. Lilynite didn't save Baragan at all, and chuckled lightly. By the way, you not only question Lord Aizen, but you also want to usurp the throne. You should thank Lord Aizen grace not to kill. Baragan folded his arms and closed his eyes, as if trying to escape the question. Sereti. Captain Jingle, there are some problems with your judgment. Yushiro looked at Jingle Chunshui. Yeah, Captain Yushiro, just look at Baragan's performance, and then look at the battle between Stark and me just now. Who would you say is number 1? Jingle Chunshui spread his hands, just judge according to your feeling. It's It's true that Baragan's ability is higher than that of Stark, but you should fight him well. Let's see why Stark can be ranked first. Yushiro said to Stark. Espada was the first to be interested. That's natural, don't forget, he is the enemy. Jingle Chunshui pursed his lips and smiled. Return to the video screen. Jingle Chunshui's judgment is completely fine, because he doesn't want to fight against an enemy like Baragan. Really? Stark stroked his head, and immediately took off the white glove on his left hand. The number 1 suddenly appeared on the back of his hand. Sorry, I'm number 1. Seeing this, Jingle Chunshui sighed, and then slammed the 2 smallpox bones. What a pity, the number 1 like you is hard to deal with no matter how you look at it. Facing an opponent like this, using 2 sabers can be regarded as a sign of respect. Immediately, the 2 came forward with knives, and after a series of probing, Jingle Chunshui complained. It's really strong, it's too scary. Is that so? You are even more surprising because the bamboo hat and the outer coat have kept avoiding my sword without moving an inch. Even though Stark said so, the attack this time had cut Jingle Chunshui's hat and forehead, and blood flowed down his cheeks. I'm so happy, it seems that you have almost shown your real skills. Although Jingle Chunshui was injured, it seemed that Stark had made a real move, which made him feel satisfied. Captain Jingle, you're still really calm, you've been hacked, why are you still so leisurely? Sui Feng outside the video expressed his incomprehension. Even though he knew that Jingle Chunshui was this kind of person, it would be too outrageous to do so. If he swaps with his opponent, it is estimated that Jingle will be turned into bones by Baragan. He hasn't really done it yet, if I try my best, wouldn't it be considered bullying him? Jingle Chunshui didn't want to be this kind of villain. This explanation is too forced, Captain, just say it if you don't want to fight. Bai Shu gave Jingle a look. Oh, Xiao Naneo, it's just that Stark doesn't want to fight, you can't blame me. You think I want to be serious and don't want to be beaten all the time. Stark sighed in the video. That's what he said, but he didn't use his full strength yet. Jingle Chunshui also saw it completely, he Shunpo dodged and immediately appeared behind Stark. Stark cast his eyes back and found Chunshui, and Zanpakuto cut away, but Chunshui blinked again, and he caught the latter's body again. During the whole process, he stood still and didn't move, it really didn't look like he was fighting. Oh, it's so dangerous, if I cut it down for real, I will definitely lose my life. You didn't intend to cut it at all, so why bother? If we were all there to observe the enemy's situation, we wouldn't be able to draw conclusions. No matter which side strikes first, the situation of the battle can change suddenly, but the terrible thing is, maybe the other side just caught the moment to strike first. Jingle Chunshui said bluntly. In other words, whoever lets the opponent make a move first will change the situation of the battle. Business blows each other, king of paddling, these two are too sloppy. Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video twitched his mouth, it was the first time he had seen this kind of battle. Obviously Jingle Chunshui wanted to test the opponent's strength, and then take measures to deal with Stark, but Stark didn't leave a chance at all, and didn't do anything at all. I know Captain Jingle's style, but the opponent I met was just like him. I am truly enlightened. Is this kind of battle really good? Renji complained. What's the difference between this and Kizaru who catches fish after clocking in at work? Since it can be ranked first, it means that Stark's ability is outstanding. On the attribute panel, the attack is as high as 92, so we only saw the surface. Sato said in a deep voice. Regardless of the position, if there is a real fight, he is optimistic about Stark. Jingle Chunshui in the picture looked at the somewhat impatient Stark, and said, Are you impatient? I really want to see your cero to open your eyes. Alright, I promise you once. Stark's eyes became serious, and the next moment a blue cero condensed directly from his chest. The rapid cero made Jingle Chunshui almost unresponsive. He looked back, and cero actually showed a straight line and destroyed all the buildings on the plane. Just escaping, the battle situation will not develop in the direction you expected. Stark said lightly. I've already used cero, so let me show you your Bankai. It can't be seen. Didn't the one over there show the returning blade? Jingle Chunshui looked at Baragan who had turned into a skeleton. Well, if you open my eyes first, Bankai's matter can't be considered. You are really slow. Let each other. At this time, Jingle Chunshui found that Stark's eyes were frequently looking at Lynette who was fighting with Yushiro, so he said, Why, do you care about that girl? No, Stark was nonchalant. Don't worry, Yushiro won't do anything to her, you should hit your energy and fight me. Jingle Chunshui realizes that Lynette is very important to Stark, which may be the reason why he doesn't really fight with himself. I said no, impatient, Stark stabbed at Chunshui with Zanpakuto. Void Knight Palace. Lynette glared at Stark angrily, and shouted, Stinky Stark, how dare you ignore me? Everyone can tell that Stark cares about her, but as a person, he dares to quibble. Stark was silent for a moment, then said in a deep voice, Not really. I really don't understand. After Jingle Chunshui in the picture blocked it, he continued. That girl is your subordinate officer, I don't quite understand this relationship, at least the mood when the subordinate died, there is no relationship between us. Different. What do you want to say? I was thinking, you won't be indifferent if she is in danger. Do you want to deal with him first? Stark misunderstood what Jingle Chunshui meant, thinking that he wanted to hurt Lilith, and forced himself to use his full strength. Harasui vetoed it, and reconfirmed that Yushiro would not hurt the girl. But Stark didn't think so, and immediately rushed to start the rev. The figure flickered rapidly, producing countless afterimages. Good skill. Jingle Chunshui was shocked, but still cut off the clone with a single blow. But suddenly he found that under his feet, Stark had gathered a cero. Cero. Boom. With the sound of Stark falling, a soaring light burst out instantly, and the blue flame covered the entire Karakura town. The surrounding Shinigami and Arankar felt the shock. Seredi. What kind of move was that just now? So many clones were created, and the speed was so fast? Tōshirō frowned. His speed has already surpassed Shihu and Yoruichi. Yoruichi is known as the Flash Goddess, but Stark seems even scarier. Besides, Cero didn't need to store energy at all, it was released directly. What kind of monster is this? Shu Bing looked confused. Could this be Stark's true strength? Whoever it was before, Yami, Hollybell, and Ulquiorra. Their Cero all need to gather strength and unleash again. But Stark's blue Cero almost didn't make any preparations, and released it directly, even faster than the white Cero. If you are not on guard, you will definitely be hit. It is worthy of the first knife. Tōshirō was amazed that people should not be judged by their appearance. Stark's strength is bottomless. Captain Jingle, are you really going to use Bankai? Yushiro looked at Jingle Chunshui suspiciously. Perhaps among their captains, only himself and Unohana Retsu knew Jingle Chunshui's Bankai ability. But in this situation where all the companions are around, it seems that it is not suitable to use Bankai. Jingle Chunshui smiled when he heard the words, yeah, I can't rule out this possibility. I'll see the situation after Stark returns. In the video, Jingle Chunshui is naturally not weak. He dodges Shunpo extremely fast and successfully evades Stark's Cero. Oh, it's so dangerous, so dangerous. A very grateful smile appeared on his face. The Cero move almost killed me just now. I didn't expect you to like my gown, but I can see clearly. Once I realize that it will affect that girl, I will make it in time reaction. Why lower your status to be provocative, Captain? Stark said a little unclearly. You probably didn't intend to ask anything at all. Maybe, but from what I can tell, the relationship between the two of you looks different than other Espadas and subordinate officers. So what, do you think it's a common practice to start from this aspect? It's hard to say, I don't really understand, but this is the key point for you, right? Jingle Chunshui could tell that Lilith was not just Stark's subordinate officer. There must be a closer relationship. You're the number one in Espada, are you still worried about your companion? Chunshui said. Companion. At the word, Stark fell silent. He who feels lonely in ultimate, does he really have a companion? After a moment of silence, he stared at Jingle Chunshui. It's nothing. Don't mind. At this moment, Baragan has been attacked by Sui Feng's Bankai, and Hollybell has been frozen by Toshiro's Iceflower burial. These so-called companions did not cause any ups and downs in Stark's emotions. In turn, he asked Jingle Chunshui, I said, are all your Bankai that good? Chunshui was stunned for a moment, and then replied, after all, Bankai is a housekeeper. I think everyone is pretty good. 17. Is that so? For example, that Ice Boy's Bankai or you, who is stronger? Stark looked at Toshiro on the battlefield in the distance. He wondered if Jingle Chunshui's Bankai had frozen 100 Flowers' wrist. It's hard to say, because Captain Hitsugaya is a genius. In another 100 years, he will overtake him. Chunshui was very humble. Seredi. Captain Jingle doesn't need to be so modest. My Bankai is nothing compared to yours. Toshiro looked at Jingle Chunshui. Although he doesn't know what Jingle Chunshui's Bankai is, he also knows the side effects of the other Bankai. But as a direct disciple of Yamamoto Genryuzai, how could let Chunshui be weak? Yeah, Captain Hitsugaya is a genius. I'm just an ordinary person. You can surpass me in 100 years. Chunshui waved his hand and said modestly. Captain Jingle is bluffing you. He is actually very strong. Rangaku leaned close to Toshiro's ear and reminded him softly. Toshiro twitched his lips and said, of course I know, but I really want to see Captain Jingle's Bankai. Stark in the video seems to understand what Jingle Chunshui meant. He boasted that Toshiro was a genius, but he said that it would take 100 years for Toshiro to catch up with himself. Doesn't this mean that his Bankai is far stronger than Toshiro now? Yushiro. At this time, Chunshui called Yushiro and gave him the pink gown. Can you hold it for me for a while? This guy seems to be getting serious. Chunshui sensed Stark's intentions. Yeah. Stark inserted the Zanpakuto into the scabbard, and said unhurriedly, because I want to meet your Bankai, Lilith, come here. After hearing Stark's shout, Lilith froze for a moment, but she quickly came to his side. What are you yelling? You startle me, Lilith complained. Chunshui didn't understand Stark's intention to call Lilith over. Stark explained that the two of them are one. Arankar's zipping knife is the shape of the knife body sealed by the core of their respective powers. Zhao Qian's, the liberation of the sword means the liberation of all parties. From true power and form. Apart from them, the other Arankar are all in the process of evolution, sealing the power of the void in the Zanpakuto. However, he is slightly different from Lillinet. When evolving from Void to Arrancar, the power of other Arrancars was separated into a flesh body and a knife body, but they were divided into two flesh bodies. In other words, Stark split the soul in two, and when they become one, the Emperor will be liberated. Sereti. So, that little girl turned out to be a split body of Stark. Jingle Chunshui now understands why the relationship between Stark and Lillinet is so special. No wonder Stark can become the first blade, this may be the difference between him and other Espada. Kurotsuchi Mayuri smiled lightly, thinking to split the soul in two, this ability seems fantastic. Much more unique than other Espadas. In other words, that little girl is the key to Stark's return. Komamura Sajin stared in disbelief. In the video screen at this time, Stark put his hand on Lillinet's head, and the latter turned into a blinding blue light. Boom! The moment Lillinet disappeared, Stark's body erupted with a burst of extremely strong energy. Like a burning blue flame straight into the sky, the surrounding winds blew up, and the aftermath of the blade made Jingle Chunshui's heart tighten, and he quickly released the flowerless and crazy Shikai. The long short sword instantly becomes a Zanpakuto with two red tassels on the hilt and a circular notch on the back. Swish! As this energy dissipates, Lillinet's Zanpakuto disappears with it, merging with Stark. Soon, Stark, dressed like a hunter, appeared in front of Jingle Chunshui holding two guns. Nani? This guy's behind the blade weapons are actually double guns? Jingle Chunshui outside the video twitched his mouth and almost cursed. Can you have some normal opponents? He really doesn't want to meet opponents with guns. Of course, he still doesn't know that the strongest opponent he will meet in the future, Liji Baro, will also attack with a gun, even a sniper rifle. Chapter 89. Blue Gatling, 2v1 doesn't talk about martial arts, seeking subscription. Ha ha ha, Captain Jingle, you got into a fight with the gun, right? Yushiro scratched his head and smiled, which was too coincidental. Yeah, this time the opponent is much more difficult to deal with than Robert. It's really a headache to be ranked 28. Jingle Chunshui slapped him on the forehead, such an opponent really killed him. In the video screen, Stark raised his guns and stared at Jingle Chunshui. Let's go, Lillinet. But Lillinet didn't respond to him. The so-called, be handsome for less than 3 seconds. This sentence is perfectly interpreted at this moment. Lillinet. Stark was a little embarrassed, raised the gun in his hand, and shouted a few more times. Don't ignore me. Seeing that Lillinet still didn't respond, he directly slammed the gun on the head. It hurts to death. Lillinet finally made a sound. Gun. Spoke. Yushiro outside the video widened his eyes in disbelief. Stark is Jingle's opponent, but his subordinate Lillinet is his opponent. Although it could be seen that Lillinet was a very weak little girl, and he would not get serious with her at all, but after Stark called her away, the girl disappeared. Could it be that the gun is the girl? Yushiro wondered, as Stark also said just now, he split himself into two bodies. After returning to the blade, Lillinet will naturally disappear. It's incredible, can Arrancar be turned into a weapon? Tōshirō and Yushiro had the same expressions. In his cognition, this is indeed a bit outrageous. Captain, this is like Zanpakuto, the weapon also has a soul. Rangaku explained close to Tōshiro's ear. Some captains Zanpakuto are able to materialize, taking human form. Perhaps Lillinet was able to become double gun for this reason. Tōshirō nodded, one is a gun and the other is Zanpakuto, it is indeed difficult to connect them together, but he also generally understands. Void Knight Palace. Lillinet, why don't you follow my command? This makes me very embarrassed. Stark, who was sitting at the front, glanced at Lillinet who was standing behind, and said angrily. You have to let him finish the pretense, right? Lillinet turned her head, not acknowledging her indifference at all. I'm not ready for anyone who made you return to the blade suddenly. All right, let me remind you next time. Stark sighed, and said in a tolerant manner. In the video screen, Lillinet, who was hit, complained to Stark. It hurts to death, do you deserve it with a split head, Stark, you idiot. Annoying or not, it's because you don't cooperate. Stark scolded. Besides, in your form, who knows who is the head? How many times have I said that the pointy part is the head? Hearing this, Stark put away the other gun, and scratched Chang's A** with his free hand. 933. It hurts, that's the A**. Lillinet complained, stop it, you did it on purpose. Jingle Chunshui looked a little dumbfounded, are these two people not very smart? No, when he was fighting with himself just now, Stark was still calm and unpredictable. After returning to the blade, why does it seem like a different person? Moreover, it was the first time that a subordinate official dared to talk to his superior like this. However, this was a good opportunity to attack. Jingle Chunshui threw out his bamboo hat, and the moment it landed in front of Stark, Shunpo came out with a knife in his hand. Swish. The bamboo hat was split in two from the middle, but Stark's figure had disappeared. It's really hateful to chop someone on the head while he's talking. Stark made a complaint after dodging away. But fortunately, his speed and quick reaction, otherwise he would really be hit by this knife. Not good enough to be alone. Jingle Chunshui didn't grind anymore, swung his two knives, released a whirlwind like Uzumaki, and rushed towards Stark rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the whirlwind wrapped Stark up. Taking this opportunity, Jingle Spring Water descended from above and slashed again. Slay the ghost. This is the ability of Jingle Spring Water Zanpakudo Shikai. If he stands higher than the enemy, his slashing power will increase sharply. If the enemy stands higher than Jingle Chunshui, the enemy's slashing power will increase dramatically. This is the rule of the game. Whoever stands higher wins. At this time, Jingle Spring Water descended from the sky, and the power exerted increased dramatically. Under the restraint of Bu Jingdula, Zhongwei is likely to severely damage Stark. Stark took his time, raised his arms, and aimed his gun at Jingle Chunshui who was coming. Boom! A blue cero soared into the sky instantly, and the blue beam of light directly submerged it. Captain Jingle has already used Shikai, and with the restriction of not being able to play alone, Stark has saved the day. Yushiro outside the video was a little surprised, and this time Cero fired with a gun, which was almost no more than before. Cero is even faster. This is the advantage of long-range attack. Any other Espada, in this case, would have been a hit. It's really troublesome. My perfect attack was diffused by a gun. Jingle Chunshui shook his head, lamenting the horror of Stark Cero, but also looking for his flaws. Captain Jingle, he has more than one gun. Kurotsuchi Mayuri smiled lightly. If both guns are used, combined with the instant Cero, no one can guarantee that Stark will escape unscathed under the double guns of Stark. In the video screen, Jingle Chunshui came out from the body of the explosion, and just now blocked Cero's damage with two knives, but he was not injured. However, Captain Haori was burned a little bit. Stark continued to raise his gun. Continue with what you just said. I really can't breathe a sigh of relief. This is not like you, Captain. Oh, actually, I wanted to kill you with a long knife at the beginning, but I was able to dodge it. It seems that after liberation, I didn't pretend, and the counterattack was so fast, it scared me. Jingle Chunshui's words are true, as evidenced by the burn marks on Captain Haori. Excellent. By the way, the gun in your hand can shoot Cero, right? Then I can assume it can shoot other things? Can't type. Stark replied indifferently. Jingle Chunshui laughed, and complained. I'm not good at lying, so there's nothing to hide now. This sentence is for me. Stark put down the gun in his left hand, and raised the gun in his right hand. I specially carried out the annoying liberation. Even if you come to be strong, you have to see your Bajia. After speaking, another Cero with no charge was launched. After one shot, another shot was fired again. Swish swish swish. Dozens of Ceros attacked Jingle Chunshui almost at the same time. In the face of this continuous Cero, Jingle Chunshui has no way to defend, he can only dodge and avoid damage. Is this the strength of the first blade, which can release Cero infinitely? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video looked dignified. There is no cooling, and all are instant. His Cero may not be as destructive as Yami's Cero with a lot of Ryatsu, but it's definitely not too bad. And Yami's Cero needs to be charged, so it is easy to dodge. On the other hand, Stark, with unlimited release of Cero, can press every step of the way. Once the opponent is distracted, he is bound to be hit by dense Cero. The speed and quantity have completely crushed other Espada's Cero. What a terrifying opponent. Renji frowned. The fact that Stark's gun could easily fire Cero was enough to shock him, but it was unacceptable for him to be able to release Cero infinitely. But Captain Jingle is also quite powerful. Sato looked at Jingle Chunshui, who was dodging continuously in the video, with a dignified expression. When he invaded Seirei, his first strong opponent was Jingle Chunshui, and the opponent almost didn't expend any effort to defeat him. Combined with the battle just now, Jingle Chunshui may be stronger. The video screen continues. Although Stark's double guns can release Cero infinitely, but at first glance, he is the teammate who missed a single shot and shouted, "Big disability, the loudest," commonly known as body stroke marksmanship. Dozens of rounds of Cero were fired, and the hit rate turned out to be 0. Stark, you stupid A****, did you miss the shot? Lillinette's voice came from the barrel of the gun. This is not to blame for her complaining, after all, she is a gun now, and can only be controlled by Stark, pointing at whichever to hit, but the shot missed. Sick of it, shut up and keep shooting. After Stark cursed, he continued to launch Cero. However, this time the attack was dodged by Jingle Chunshui as usual. Shunpo came to Stark's side, and said, "You know, it's not as easy as you think to hit a moving target with a gun." "I know." Stark's expression remained unchanged. He raised his arm and fired another shot. "Why do you keep wasting bullets?" Jingle Chunshui dodges again, and immediately walked behind Stark to prepare for a sneak attack. But with Lillinette's reminder, Stark turned back to grab Cero. "I see through your mode of action." Facing Jingle Chunshui's question, Stark didn't answer, but directly robbed at his Shunpo's landing point. This time, Cero shines as usual, but Jingle, Aba, Chunshui is not like before. After being observed, he slashed out with a knife. The blade collides with the Cero and cuts through it. The two cut Cero blasted towards the buildings below respectively, causing double damage. "You hit well, it seems that you need to change your perception of your actions." Stark raised his two guns. "Not good enough to be alone. Jingle Chunhui once again waved a whirlwind, but was scattered by the shooting cero. But at this moment, he stood in front of Stark in an instant, and said confidently, "Your right hand can no longer be used." He observed for a long time that when Stark shot and released cero, the more powerful gun in his right hand had to return to the holster to recharge after each shot. The power of the left gun is slightly inferior, but it can shoot continuously. He judged that Stark's right gun after firing a shot must return to the holster to recharge, so he moved Shunpo forward and used the gap to cause damage. But suddenly, boom, Stark's right gun actually shot cero again. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jingle Chunhui was stunned for a moment and immediately pulled away. Isn't it according to this rule? Jingle Chunhui outside the video sighed. He guessed wrongly about the opponent's ability, somewhat embarrassed. I think so too, but why can the right gun still fire cero? Yushiro looked surprised. I thought I found Stark's weakness, but it turned out to be self-righteous. Kurotsuchi Mayuri shook his head. Even the two captains made a wrong judgment. Stark is really not easy. Don't look at Jingle's frivolous and lazy behavior when she was young, but she has strong insight. This time he made a wrong judgment and was almost hit by cero. Let's just say Stark, hide too deep. Jingle Chunhui in the video also expressed his own judgment, but in shocked after seeing cero shot from Stark's right gun. I thought my judgment must be right. Who said that? Then what do you want to do? Stark said flatly. It's not good. Jingle Chunhui's eyes suddenly sank, and he continued. You should be most aware that what you shot just now was only cero, and I have also experienced its power. It is very troublesome to shoot irregularly with both hands. But in the end, even if you become stronger after liberation, a simple cero still can't kill me, as time goes by. Before he finished speaking, he was shocked, because a blue light glowed on Stark in front, and gathered cero at the muzzle of the gun. Unlimited reload cero. Swish swish swish. The group of infinite ceros with a large range and extremely fast firing speed poured down like a torrential rain. The affected area, every inch of space, is covered by cero. Jingle felt something was wrong with Chunhui and jumped out continuously. It's no use running away, Stark said in a deep voice. Wait a minute. Jingle Chunhui panicked a little. This trick is just playing tricks. No one is waiting for you. As long as you shoot like this, a simple cero can hurt you. Why not Bankai, Captain? Stark has always wanted to meet Jingle Chunhui's Bankai, but he still doesn't want to let him go. Use unlimited cero decisively. Sereti, how can I fight this? There is no solution. Omeda's eyes were like copper bells, and he said incredulously. I thought it would be fine to release cero infinitely with the two guns, but the frequency. It will be lower, but what the hell is this rainstorm cero? What Stark is holding is probably not a double gun, but a Gatling. It's so scary, it's really not bragging to be number one, now I finally understand. Komamura Sajin thought that Stark was not very powerful at first, but just a long-range ability player with guns. But now it seems that he is the guy who is really worthy of the first blade. Under the wireless cero, according to your own speed, you will definitely be beaten into a sieve. Not to mention Komamura Sajin, even Sui Feng can't guarantee that he will be unscathed under infinite cero. Captain Jingle still has reservations. Sui Feng looked at Jingle Chunhui. Under the attack of infinite cero, it is too scary to avoid all of them. Yeah, I'm going to die if I don't run away. Jingle Chunhui waved his hands and smiled. The video screen continues. Seeing Jingle Chunhui being cornered, Yushiro couldn't stand it any longer. Pisces Carp. He took out Zanpakuto, and the rain like infinite cero was instantly absorbed by Pisces Carp, and in an instant it gathered into a huge cero and reflected it out. Seeing this, Stark was startled, but he quickly calmed down, turned slightly to one side, and dodged the counterattack. Hey guys, it's 2 version 1 now. Facing Yushiro's counterattack, Stark was a little surprised. That's obviously cero. Jingle Chunhui looked at Yushiro, wanting to say something. But he was interrupted by Yushiro. Don't be dissatisfied, after all, the other party is also 2, plus I'm not mean, and I don't think you have any intention of Bankai. Yeah, I'm planning to use it. Farewell, your Bankai should not be used in full view, and my ability is more handy against such opponents, Yushiro said. It's really disgusting. If you can't beat him, you still call him a helper. Is this the captain's style? Lilinite, who was outside the video, suddenly became angry. It's obviously a battle between 2 people, what are you doing meddling in? What a nuisance, one is already difficult enough to deal with, and another one comes. Stark also sighed. Captain Yushiro, you did a great job. If I don't come, I will really be hurt by cero. Jingle Chunhui walked up to Yushiro and patted him on the shoulder. Yushiro smiled foolishly, although it's a little rude to participate in the battle between the 2 of you, I can't watch you get hurt. It's a shame to say that it takes 2 captains to deal with a mere Espada. Zaraki Kenpachi glanced at the 2, with a hint of sarcasm in his words. Anyway, the 2 of you are veteran captains, even if you win 2 on 1, it doesn't make any sense. Ajien, Stark's Infinity Cero is too strong, Captain Jingle didn't use Bankai, and the other party has Lilinette, and there are 2 of them. 8,000 Li pulled Kenpachi. Sleeve said. If Jingle Chunhui used Bankai and Yushiro went to rescue him, it would be a bit deceiving, but the captains of the two Shikai versus the first blade after returning to the blade, this is not the same. Kenpachi shouted, counting Zanpakuto, Captain Jingle, therefore version 2, chapter 90. Uncle Wolf's bad life, the three worlds are shocked, seeking subscription. Stark in the video becomes intrigued by Jushiro's abilities. That white-haired captain, how did you use Cero just now? Cero is a skill that can only be used by high-level virtual and Arankar, or Shinigami who can hollow can also use it. But Jushiro doesn't have hollow, how can he make Cero? That's right, how do you use it? Jushiro spread his hands pretending to be confused, maybe I will understand once I type it again. So it makes sense. Stark frowned, raising his right gun. That makes sense, they dug a hole for you to jump, Stark. Lilynette also saw Jushiro's intentions, and hurriedly reminded her. But Stark ignored Lilynette and shot Cero directly. Jingle springs out of the way, Jushiro goes forward, Pisces Carp absorbs Cero again. If you don't listen to the old man's words, you will suffer in front of your eyes. Do you listen, Stark? Lilynette is still complaining, Stark is fighting with Jushiro. He didn't believe in evil, and shot Cero again, but the result remained the same. After the Pisces Carp absorbed it, he bounced Cero back. But this level of Cero poses no threat to Stark at all. He turned around and came behind Jushiro. So, your ability is to absorb the enemy's attack and then counterattack as many as possible. And that's not all. The 5 talismans hanging in the middle of the Pisces Carp rope can adjust the speed and power of the opponent's counterattack, giving some adjustments so that the opponent misses the opportunity to dodge. Don't look at its appearance, but its ability is quite bad, Captain. Stark complained about the appearance of the Zanpakuto, but there is no denying that this knife is very capable. Void Knight Palace. Able to absorb the opponent's attack, there's Zanpakuto with this ability. Yami was stunned, although Stark's Cero is not as powerful as his own Cero to a certain extent, but Jushiro can still absorb and bounce back. He didn't expect that sick captain to be so fishy? This is going to be difficult, Stark. Lilynette glanced at Stark and immediately complained, and Stark, can you stop ignoring my opinion in the future? Idiot, I just want to test whether my guess is correct. Now I can confirm that the ability of the white-haired captain is higher than that of the captain with the hat to a certain extent, Stark said lightly. Try if you try, at least tell me, okay, I kept yelling, and you didn't respond to me, which made me very embarrassed. Lilynette expressed her dissatisfaction. Stark nodded. Then listen better next time. Return to the video screen. Hearing Stark's explanation, Jushiro was stunned for a moment, and said with emotion, it's amazing, I didn't expect to see through my ability in just 3 words. Excellent. Not only did Stark see through the rebound of Pisces Carp, but he also saw that it was not a simple reflection, but a limited amount of absorption for each counterattack. Soon, he made a decision. Raising the gun, Stark's eyes sparkled brightly, then, if you shoot 1,000 rounds at the same spot in succession, you shouldn't be able to return fire, right? 1,000 rounds in a row? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video was shocked by the number. What is the concept of 1,000 hairs? And growing in the same place, even Jushiro's Pisces Carp can absorb attacks, but it doesn't have enough time for Cero to absorb 1,000 rounds for him to absorb. Not even a chance to dodge. This guy isn't bragging, is he? Renji doubted. It's like when Ichimaru Jin lied to everyone, saying that his Zanpakuto can stretch 13 kilometers and 500 times the speed of sound. This may be a tactic to deceive the opponent, it's not like bragging. Since Stark said this, there is a high probability that it is true. Ichigo frowned, not to say that he didn't know Stark before, but from the video just now, he can know that he is not a liar. And being able to rank the first blade, 1,000 rounds of Cero, does not seem to be so difficult to achieve. Captain Jushiro can't defend against these 1,000 rounds, Cero, hurry up Bankai. Renji can't help but feel worried for Jushiro, but he doesn't know what Jushiro's Bankai looks like, so he hopes to be able to prevent it. Seirei. This is too exaggerated, Captain Jushiro, can you absorb 1,000 rounds of Cero in an instant? Toshirō looked at Jushiro expectantly. Even though he asked this question, he seemed to already have an answer in his heart. Jushiro sneered, and said bluntly, this is even more outrageous than infinite Cero, I must not have time to absorb it, Captain Jingle, your opponent is really too strong, if I had known it earlier, I wouldn't have helped you. Don't, I'm hard to deal with alone. Jingle Chunhui supported the bamboo hat, showing a wry smile. Kenpachi glanced at the two of them coldly again, the two captains can't beat each other, it's too embarrassing. In the video screen. Watching Cero emerge from the barrel, Stark suddenly sensed a Ryotsu behind him. It was Jingle Chunhui who came with a knife. Stark ducked his head quickly, dodging the slash, and shot Cero sideways. Just now when he released Cero to test Jushiro's abilities, he discovered that Jingle Chunhui was missing, and ended up making a sneak attack from behind. I told you not to go against your style, Captain, Stark shouted at Jingle Chunhui. It's not a good thing to impose your style on others, Mr. Espada. Jingle Chunhui smiled lightly, he loved to engage in sneak attacks in battle, and Stark's so-called style was a joke in his eyes. And his style is no style, TCH, I thought you were of the same kind as me. Stark was speechless, and he actually put the sixth child in the same category as himself, which really lowered his status. Stark, who was a little puzzled, raised his hand and shot. Jingle Chunshui came forward in an instant, and the moment he avoided Cero, Shunpo again. It's here. Stark judged that Jingle Chunshui was in front of him, and Finger Pistol stepped forward. Wrong. He never thought that Jingle Chunshui would appear behind him, and when he wanted to shoot, Jingle Chunshui would run away directly. Would it make me afraid to shoot in close combat? If that's the case. Stark instantly shot countless Ceros in front of him. Now you can't get close from here. In this way, Jingle Chunshui can only attack from the side. After judging the position, Stark shot Cero, but Jingle dodged, and Yushiro appeared behind him, and absorbed Cero with a double fish carp, and reflected it out. The two cooperated quite tacitly, but even so, Stark still easily dealt with it. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Aizen watched Stark's fighting state and sighed silently. Stark, you still don't want to fight with all your strength, do you? Of course he could see that Stark wasn't pulling out all the stops. How can this be done to force the Bankai of Captain Jingle and Captain Yushiro? Although Aizen is wily, but Jingle Chunshui and Jushiro's Bankai, he really doesn't know. If Stark can force Bankai out of the two, it will be no small gain. In the video screen, Jingle Chunshui returned to Jushiro's side and sighed to Stark, amazing. In terms of speed, Stark is by no means slower than the two. Stark yelled, thought you were under such simple intimidation, so that's what happened. We didn't say we were going to fight alone, Jushiro said. Jushiro, are you healthy? Jingle Chunshui is a little worried that under this intensity of confrontation, Jushiro's condition may recur. Jushiro nodded, indicating that he is in good condition now. Two despicable villains have joined forces. Lilonite's voice came from the barrel of the gun again. Come one by one. What nonsense, aren't you two? It's reasonable. Jushiro pointed at Stark with a double fish carp. It's you, give up the battle and surrender. In a mixed fight between husband and wife, Stark is definitely no match. How dare you say that I hate him, Stark, kill him quickly, Lilonite begged Stark. Really, but I really want to finish it quickly. Stark was a little impatient, but soon he calmed down, and his expression became much deeper. This time I will make it impossible for you to get close at all. However, at this moment, a black cavity appeared in the sky, and Wonderweiss walked out of it. Jingle and Jushiro were a little shocked when they saw the yellow-haired boy and the Manos Grande behind him. This fleur is also too big for his size. What is that? Jushiro was stunned. Suddenly, Wonderweiss appeared behind him and directly pierced Jushiro's body with his hand. Nani, that child who can't speak, is so powerful. Rukia outside the video swallowed, feeling incredible. He actually instantly killed Jushiro. I didn't expect to be attacked unexpectedly. Jushiro patted his forehead to express his regret. Unexpectedly, I have a teammate who loves sneak attacks, but an enemy who loves sneak attacks appears. No way, this kid's speed is so fast, I didn't even realize it. Jingle Chunshui was in a cold sweat from shock. Jushiro himself is very sick, his chest was pierced directly, will his life be in danger? As the first batch of captains, he has the closest relationship with Jushiro. He didn't want to see Jushiro die. Void Knight Palace. Ha ha ha, Wonderweiss did a great job, let's punish this guy who doesn't talk about martial arts. Lilonite clapped her hands and applauded. Now that one has been dealt with, if the remaining Jingle Chunshui and Stark are singled out, she is confident that Stark will win. Wonderweiss yelled at Lilonite twice. He can't speak, and it's an Aaroncar specially made by Aizen to fight against Ryujin Jaka of Yamamoto Genryuzai. Although it is a very special Aaroncar, its fighting power is not weak. Listening room. Tusen Konami looked at Wonderweiss in the video, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Although Vandalweiss is Aaroncar produced by Aizen and opposite Yamamoto Genryuzai, his closest person is Tusen Konami. And Wonderweiss has been staying with Tusen Konami. The relationship between the two is like Stark and Lilonite. Oh, it's a surprise that Wonderweiss actually got rid of Captain Jushiro. Ichimaru Jin narrowed his eyes and said flatly. Silver, this will let Stark fight with peace of mind, won't it? Tusen Konami said perfunctorily. After Ichimaru Jin's purpose was exposed, he didn't want to talk to him very much. 0. Ask for flowers. The video screen continues. Jingle Chunshui saw that Jushiro's body was pierced, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he immediately walked behind Wonderweiss, ready to kill him. But suddenly, Stark's gun hit his back, and a cero knocked him down. Sorry, this guy showed up, it means that Lord Aizen can't wait any longer. Stark's eyes darkened. Chunshui, 14th Lang. Yamamoto Genryuzai was very distressed when he saw the two people falling down, but he couldn't leave for the time being. The screen changed. The little bowl succeeded. Love Ikawa looked at a Toribashi Rojiro who was buried in the stone pile. Seeing that Rojiro was indifferent, he went directly to grab Rojiro's hair and licked it. Pulled out. Whether it's a man or not, if it's a man, just be quick. You're going to be bald, and you have to pay attention to aesthetics when you emerge from the rubble. Lu Shilong complained. Really, then next time, let's not be buried by the rubble as aesthetics. Immediately, the two looked at Hashijin who killed Baragan, and praised him a lot. I thought we'd start first. Love Kawa looked solemn. Lujiro didn't understand what he meant and asked. He explained. After the comrades are killed, the battle will evolve into a revenge battle. Really, he doesn't look like that kind of person. Lujiro narrowed his eyes slightly, and glanced at Stark in the sky. That's why it's not scary. No one can remain indifferent even if his companion is dead. If he is shaken by the death of his companion, we will take advantage of it. If he is angry because of the death of his companion, we will preemptively strike. Love Kawa had already thought of a strategy against Stark. Fighting alone can become more and more courageous. Zero. Anyway, there are two of us, wouldn't it be great to cooperate? Lu Shilong said. Forget it, no matter what. Let's strike first. Love Kawa was not in the ink, dialed Zanpakuto and slashed at Stark. Smash him, Tengu Maru. After releasing Zanpakuto, his original Zanpakuto transformed into a giant mace. After Stark noticed Love Kawa, he launched Cero, but unexpectedly, the attack hit Tengu Maru and was bounced away. It's useless. Love Kawa slashed again. This time it landed directly on Stark, knocking him out. Visored. Xiao Wu, you hit Stark? Hiyori patted Love Kawa on the shoulder in surprise. You must know that Jingle Chunshui and Yushiro did not touch Stark when they teamed up, and Love Kawa hit it as soon as he shot. Too much face for Visored. Stark's reaction speed is a bit slower than when he first fought Jingle Chunshui, which shows that Baragan's death has shaken him. Hashijin sensed that Stark was most likely a wavering personality. No matter what, just defeat that guy. Balua Wu, are you really sure you want to fight alone? Lu Salang shook his hand. Roz, don't you believe me? Love Kawa shouted, just keep your eyes open. Void Knight Palace. Stark, don't hesitate. Lynette felt very dissatisfied when she realized that Stark in the video was unable to do what she wanted. Although Stark attaches great importance to his companions, he also claims that he will not avenge his dead companions, but his heart shakes cannot be avoided. I can't promise that, Stark said flatly. Return to the video screen. It hurts. Stark lay in the ruins, feeling powerless to fight. Stark, why are you in a daze? Don't you want revenge? It's really useless. Lynette's complaints spread to Wei. I told you I'm not that kind of person. Anyway, Master Aizen has no intention of saving us. Stark's heart was ashamed, and the moment Baragan died, he sensed Aizen's ruthlessness, so he lost his fighting spirit. I know they're strong, so forget it. He directly used the ruins as a bed, turned over, and continued to lie down. Continue to fight, you will die or I will live. Since everything is clear, let's go back and sleep. Facing the poor Stark, Lynette resolutely scolded. Stark, are you out of your mind? You are number one after all. You are a little self-conscious, okay? You just kept going. Playing cool, I don't know where my mind went. Why do you think Master Aizen let you be the number one? Because I believe in your strength. I don't want to watch my companion die in battle, so go and avenge him. This is really Arankar who does all kinds of evil? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video expressed his incomprehension. The Arankar he'd seen in the video before, that one wasn't extremely brutal. How did the painting style change when you came to Stark? Good guy, it just broke. Renji was also a little surprised. This is the first blade in Espada. Shouldn't it be more ferocious than Baragan? How did it start to work? Visored. This guy has lost confidence in Aizen and is disheartened. No wonder you were able to hit him. Lujiro said with his hands spread out. Roz. What do you mean by that? It's clearly his character flaw that caused his ability to decline. Okay. Love Kawa was full of dissatisfaction. I beat him until he wanted to lie on the ground and sleep, and you still said I can't do it? Chapter 91. Wolves, Espada's Last Dance, seeking subscription? Love Kawa and Lujiro in the video are a little confused. Why Stark has been on the ground for so long and still hasn't moved? According to his strength, that blow would not kill him. Lujiro walked to Love Kawa's side in an instant, and asked about the situation. Is it resolved? How is it possible? It's just that there is no movement. Love Kawa has self-knowledge. Are you planning a strategy or investigating the enemy's situation? The two were a little puzzled, but they don't know. Stark is asleep. No matter what, we can't do anything if the ashes don't disperse. Love Kawa was very calm. If the opponent is ambushing in the smoke and he blindly steps forward, he is likely to be ambushed. He is very clear about the law of smoking without harm. Report the actor for hanging up. Grimjow outside the video suddenly became angry, and gave you the position of the blade. This is just such a perfunctory fight, right? If he had the strength of a single blade, he would probably have started killing people already. It's not that I don't want to fight, it's just that it doesn't make any sense. Stark waved his hand, not shy at all. Even though Aizen is also in the Void Knight Palace, he has already lost his original confidence in Aizen. If Aizen is going to attack him now, then he will definitely not fight back. Whether it is Baragan or himself, in Aizen's eyes they're just pawns. How can you sleep comfortably when you are a chess piece? Stark. Why is this meaningless? Don't even think about it. That fellow Baragan was going to attack Lord Aizen before he died. Lord Aizen will definitely ignore this traitor. Zamari Ruro immediately stood up and stared fiercely at Stark. As long as we are loyal to Lord Aizen, he will not treat us badly. As Aizen's loyal subordinate, Zamari Ruro seems to be bewitched, but if he saw Aizen smashing Tusen Kanami mercilessly, and slashing at Hollybell, maybe he would not say such words. Stark sighed, 6, 5, 7, and did not respond to Zamari Ruro. Oh, the two opponents have been dealt with, and now there are two more. When will it be the end? Return to the video screen. Lu Shilong looked at the smoke below, and complained. My attack actually caused me to lose the chance to attack again. Does a person like you really exist? Don't bother, there are plenty of opportunities. Love Aikawa was a little impatient. Proceed if you can. While they were talking, a vortex suddenly appeared in the smoke. Immediately afterwards, a bright blue light was emitted, and a cero shot out from it, followed by successive ceros, which directly scattered the smoke. There, Lu Jiro found the target. I see, really, where are you going to fight? Love Aikawa looked at Cero, who looked like a sky full of fireworks, and complained from the extremely biased position. However, it wasn't Stark's attack, but Lilynette urging him on, which launched the Cero so far away. Hey, don't shoot indiscriminately. Stark, still lying on the ground, yelled at Lilynette, who was still firing Cero. Here he comes, make Tucker, it was you who provoked me. Seeing Love Aikawa attacking, Stark also had to get up from the ground. The Tengu Maru slammed down heavily. Keep me waiting, Love Aikawa grinned. Nobody keeps you waiting, Lilynite, who blocked Tengu Maru, replied. It's you who made it difficult for everyone to fight, you idiot. Love Aikawa froze for a moment. There is also a gun that can talk, it's really rare. No way, your head is only once in 100 years. The argument between the two made Stark a little impatient, and he stopped Lilynette. Shut up, Lilynette. Are you kidding me? You don't care, I want to fight myself. Immediately, Stark dodged, and the gun in his hand shot towards Love Aikawa uncontrollably. But this kind of attack is far from being under Stark's control. Love Aikawa is barely consumed, just avoid them all. No way, Lilynette can launch Cero by herself? Tōshirō outside the video was amazed and at the same time incomprehensible. Since the transformation has become a weapon, why can it still act on its own? Shouldn't the whole thing be controlled by Stark? It can be seen that this random attack was completely released by Lilynite on her own initiative, and Stark had no intention of attacking at all. Rangaku said lightly. Although the Cero fired from the same gun at the same time, the Cero under the control of Stark has much stronger strength and range of fire. Otherwise, how could Love Aikawa, the captain who is equivalent to a boxer, avoid it easily? It's really interesting. If Lilynette leaves Stark, can she transform into a weapon? Kurotsuchi Mayuri sneered. As the incarnation of a weapon, she can also transform without going through Stark. Maybe it can be used as an experimental material. Captain Nirvana, we understand what you mean, but Lilynette and Stark are one, right? Without Stark, she can't transform. Komamura Sajin pointed out Kurotsuchi Mayuri's mistake. This kind of question can be understood by oneself, but can't Kurotsuchi Mayuri understand? B****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************�e. Of course I know, I just put forward a conjecture. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's face suddenly became ugly, thinking is your doghead smarter than me? In the video screen. Stop it, Lilynette, Stark wanted to stop. But she was ruthlessly rejected by Lilynite. Love Aikawa also noticed that Stark's attack was not based on his consciousness. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Shunpo stepped forward and swung down the Tengu Maru. The huge mace approached like a dark cloud, but with this level of attack, it was impossible to hit Stark, and the two jumped into the air. It really wasn't you who attacked on your own initiative, Love Aikawa said loudly. Stark's expression was indifferent. So what, why don't you call me, I'm heartbroken? It counts. Love Aikawa swung the hammer again. Stark didn't dodge and was hit by a hammer. Stupid, why do you let the other party figure out your thoughts? It's useless, Lilynite complained. Love Aikawa pursues the victory. He thought Shu was emotionless, but when he saw Stark and Lilynette, he completely changed his mind. You're not ashamed, you look like a hypocrite, you used a mask just now, Stark complained. The mask you mentioned, do you mean this one? As he spoke, Love Aikawa brushed his hand in front of him, and a mask appeared on his face. He swung the Tengu pill violently, and a gust of wind blew by. Stark stood still. Lilynette couldn't stand it anymore, and took the initiative to attack again. What are you doing? Chase after me, he's picking on us. Stark didn't step forward because he sensed that Love Aikawa had changed his attack style. So what, are you afraid of losing? Lilynette complained. Forget it. Stark felt a little helpless, and stepped forward in an instant. At this moment, he already had no desire to fight. If it wasn't for Lilynette's prompting, he probably would have ceased fighting long ago. Is this considered releasing water? Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video asked suspiciously. It was like when Ichimaru Jin let himself go to sea. However, Ichimaru Jin's release is not obvious, at least not in terms of attitude. And Stark just played badly and didn't even show 10% of the fighting spirit he had just played against Jingle Chunhui. It can't be said to let the water go, it's just that I don't want to fight anymore. Renji explained, but he could see that Love Akawa's attack threat was far less than that of Jingle Harasui and Yushiro. If Stark had fought with all his might, together with Love Akawa and Lujiro, they would have already been defeated. Visored. Although the result of the battle is to defeat the opponent, if the opponent has no desire to fight, even if I win, I will lose face. Love Akawa sighed. It is even said that victory is invincible. Why do you want face? Lu Shilong said. That's right, what do I want to save face for? Love Akawa was taken aback for a moment, and then suddenly understood, as if he had understood the true meaning of life. Good guy, as long as I have no morals, others can't kidnap me morally. In the video screen, Stark began to attack with his own consciousness. Love Akawa's consecutive defeats and Stark's conscious attack made him a little overwhelmed. Lu Shilong at the side noticed something was wrong, and rushed to help immediately. Play it, Jinsara. The Zanpakuto in his hand instantly turned into a long whip with a golden flower at the end, and the long whip was thrown out, directly intercepting several ceros attacking Love Akawa. Chisa put away his whip, and Lujiro walked to Love Akawa's side in an instant. It's so slow, why don't you come? Love Akawa complained. That being said, if Lujiro hadn't helped in time, even if he had the huge Tengu Maru in his hand, he couldn't resist the Cero group. I'm sorry, I said that the way of appearance at any time is all about aesthetics. Lujiro spread his hands and stroked his head, full of depression. He seems to be motivated, and he hates encountering opponents who are hesitant, because the moment of victory is not easy. Dafa shines. As he spoke, he lowered his arms, and the mask came out. Throw out Kansharo again to chase Stark. Unlike other weapons, Kinzaro can keep chasing even if it is attacked by Cero. Nice job, Roz. Taking advantage of Jinshiluo's restraint, Love Akawa has already come to the sky above Stark. Come on, Tengumaru, it's a bit hot, bear with it. Immediately, cracks like lava cracked on the mace, and flames burst out of it, and quickly covered the mace completely, and a blazing big hammer suddenly appeared. Fiery little hammer. Love Akawa slammed down the mace, and the huge fireball fell violently. Boom. The fireball submerged Stark, and the moment it fell to the ground, it formed a pillar of destruction. The power is quite terrifying. You really don't hide, Stark? Lilynette outside the video was unable to complain, and she couldn't ignite Stark's fighting spirit after all she said. Could it be that Stark secretly watched the Boruto pass? Oh, there's no way I can dodge the two's cooperative attack, Stark said perfunctorily. However, it is true that Jinshiluo ignored Cero's attack, which made him a little out of control. In addition, the hot hammer was very fast, and the attack was extremely threatening, but if he focused on fighting tirelessly, he would have no problem avoiding this blow. Stark drowned in the flames of the explosion. Are you okay? Lilynette was a little worried. Do you think it's possible? They're really strong? Speaking of discouragement again. Not this time, Ryotsu soared after they put on the mask, and it was two together, I was alone. Loneliness was written all over Stark's face. From the past to the present, it seems that there is no real companion by my side. Where are you alone? Because you are not alone, you can survive until now, even if you were alone before, but never. Since then, we have been inseparable, Lilynette encouraged Stark. As long as they fight together, even two opponents can still be resolved. Okay, I know. Lilynette's words seemed to ignite Stark's fighting spirit a little, and he stood up again holding the gun. No way, at this time, the dual guns produced a large amount of blue light, covering Stark's body. The double guns also disappeared, representing the true fusion of Lilynette and Stark. Ryotsu has changed subtly. Love Akawa took off the mask, but couldn't find Stark's place. Up there, Luo Wu. Lu Shilang's eyes tightened, and he hurriedly reminded him. Swish swish swish. Countless ferocious wolves appeared behind Stark one after another, and Stark was like a wolf king at the moment, commanding the pack of wolves. What's going on? What do these wolves mean? Jingle Chunhui outside the video couldn't help but widen his eyes. He admitted that infinite reload Cero is already a very strong move. With this move, it's perfectly possible to make him the number one of Espada, but what the hell are these wolves? No way, Captain Jingle, this seems to be Stark's strongest move. When he fought us, he didn't use his full strength at all. Yushiro people are stupid. Stark, who didn't use his unique move, fought back and forth with Jingle Chunhui. If he used his unique move, wouldn't he be stronger? Captain Yushiro, the two of us were looked down upon, and when we fought, he didn't use any strength at all. Jingle Chunhui sighed with emotion while supporting his bamboo hat. Tōshirō was puzzled. The two guns disappeared. Did that little girl turn into a wolf? Become a wolf? Rangaku was stunned. It shouldn't be. There are many wolves behind Stark, she won't just become one of them. Rukia nodded. Vice Captain Matsumoto has a point. Visored. Does this guy still have a form? Love Akawa's eyes widened. It looks like it's going to be serious. It seems to be more difficult to deal with than infinite reload Cero. Luo Wu, can you do it? Lujiro looked arrogantly at Love Akawa. A man can't say he's not good enough, but I think you're not good enough, Love Aikawa sneered. Love Aikawa and Lu Jiro in the video were also shocked when they saw Stark. Look at Luo Wu, he is unarmed, what about the pistol? God knows, you actually use your bare hands, don't you take us seriously? Come on, Stark. Stark called out his name, and after the wolves in the air let out a terrifying growl, they quickly moved forward. Love Aikawa and Rojiro enter the masked state again. After Shikai Zanpakuto, the wolves were easily defeated. Just when they were about to complain about the weakness of the wolves, they found that the 4.5 wolves that had been defeated had gathered and stood up again in a form similar to souls. They're like flames, you can't kill them. It's tricky, I hate this kind of magic and nondescript tricks the most in my life. Lu Shilong threw out Jin Shiluo while complaining. Kinsara Sonata, number 11, is a Yoi Rose. He also said that others, his Zanpakuto ability is similar to magic. Tap Jin Shiluo's blade, and the golden flower on the edge of the blade explodes instantly, and the surrounding wolves are wiped out. Your tricks are more magical, okay, Love Aikawa complained. Your eyes are so long, mine is art. It looks like magic, but it's not. You really are lying, Lu Jiro. Hiyori outside the video also complained. What the hell art, isn't this just magic damage? Shout, it's like the name of my move, it's all art. Lu Shilong tossed his hair. At this time, there was a sound from the ruins. The downed pack of wolves revived again, several wolves bit Jinshiluo, and after limiting the attack, another wolf body Lujiro. At the moment when the wolfhound bit Luo Wu, a violent explosion occurred. The beam of light shot up into the sky, and Luo Wu and Lu Shilong were injured to a certain extent. I get it, they're not flames, they're cero. The wolves come from that Espada's magazine, and each one is condensed by the cero he shoots. Be careful not to be blown away in melee. During the analysis, the wolves attacked again. It's not cero, your strength is extraordinary, ordinary cero is not enough to kill you. Stark in the distance explained, after I separated and tore out my own soul, I took it with me like my brothers, made them obey me, and also served as my weapon. Those wolves are both. It's Stark, and it's Lilynette. This is the ability of our number 1 Espada, Coyote Stark, and Lily Knight Kinky Buck. Chapter 92. Renji is on the list, the whole Seirei can't hold back anymore, seeking subscription. Stark. Lilynette outside the video looked at Stark with a moved expression, and felt a little shaken in her heart. Without Lilynette, there would be no current Stark, and there would be no number 1 of Espada. Lilynette, don't worry, I will defeat both of them, Stark replied somewhat perfunctorily. Seirei. I can see loneliness in Stark's eyes. Jingle Chunshui's eyes froze. Whether it was Stark's attention to Lilynette at the beginning, or his yelling at Baragan, he expressed his dissatisfaction with Aizen. And the splitting of the soul into countless pieces, doesn't this symbolize that he was once a very lonely person? Yushiro nodded, Stark is Lilynette, and Lilynette is Stark. How did I feel a little bit of sympathy for Stark? Hinamori Momo's eyes were lonely, and for the result of the battle, she even hoped that Stark would win. Of course, it's not that Love Aikawa and Rojiro who want to stand on their side fail, but compared to others, Stark doesn't look like a bad guy at all. Since he is Arenkar and Aizen's subordinate, he is our enemy, so no matter whether he is a good guy or a bad guy, we must not soften our hearts. Komamura Sajin did not feel sympathetic, in his opinion, destroying the Soul Society all are enemies. Anyway, I still hope Captain Ichuan and Captain Fengchao can win, Jingle Chunshui said lightly. In the video screen, as the wolves attacked, Love Aikawa and Rojiro were already badly injured, and Arenkar was also crushed. Stark, they haven't recovered yet, take advantage of the victory and pursue them, and kill them in one go. Lilynette's voice rang in Stark's ear. Well, I will. Stark nodded, and the pack reappeared behind him. Ah woo, the sound of howling wolves spread over the entire Karakura town, and they flew away in an instant, as if they were extinguished flames, and in the next second they all rushed towards Love Aikawa and Lujiro, who were already covered in bruises. Boom! Dozens of Borzois all turned into cero, exploding in the air like fireworks. Love Aikawa and Rojiro couldn't dodge at all, and fell from the sky after being hit. Stark came over in an instant, looked at the two gasping for breath, put his hands in his pockets, very calmly. The winner has been decided, but you can let 04 go. Don't underestimate people. Love Aikawa stood up and spat bloody spit. Even if he is not an opponent, it is not his style to let the enemy let him go. I see. Stark landed. Then don't blame me, I don't really like the word fatal blow, die. But just as his toes touched the ground, a shadow was formed. A Zanpakuto thrust out suddenly, piercing his chest. Nani? What's going on here? Feeling the tingle, Stark frowned suddenly, and looked back slowly. At this time, Jingle Chunshui emerged from the shadow, holding Kaden Kyokotsu. That stab at Stark just now was his sneak attack. Damn it, it's so despicable and obscene, engaging in a sneak attack. Lilynette outside the video immediately cursed. You don't need any face, do you? I was supposed to treat people, but I didn't expect this sixth child to hide in the shadows? What kind of move is this, and it can also blend into the shadow? Stark was also curious, but he was disgusted by the fighting style of taking advantage of others' surprise and sneak attack. So, I gave up the fight before I knew the opponent's ability. How can such a person become Espada's #1? What a disgrace to Espada. Niutouxu shook his head. Seredi. This is the style of Captain Jingle. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's cold eyes turned to Jingle Harasui. When Jingle Shunsui was hit by Cero at the beginning and left the field hastily, Kurotsuchi Mayuri predicted that Jingle Shunsui must be waiting in the dark for an opportunity, and he will kill with one hit. Sure enough, he was really overshadowed by the Shadow Ghost. It's really unethical, but it's also a tactic, Tōshirō said with emotion. In an unfavorable situation, a sneak attack may be the best means of attack. Yeah, what Captain Ni said is right. If I don't take action again, Captain Ichuan and Captain Fengchao will be in trouble. Jingle Chunshui smiled secretly. My style is that I have no style. A sneak attack was nothing to him. In the video screen, Stark was impaled in the chest by Kaden Kyokotsu, but the wound was not fatal. Are you okay, Stark? Lilynette asked worriedly. Fine. Stark clutched his wound, sweating coldly. Still talking hard, you have been severely injured, and if you don't show your strength to fight, the consequences will be disastrous. I'll go and teach them a lesson. Lilynette couldn't wait. It can't be too out of line, you know it. Stark attached. Of course I know, don't talk cliché. Okay. Each other. Soon, Stark looked to Jingle Chunshui and asked what the trick was to attack from the shadow. Hiding in the shadows is simply nonsense. Shadow Ghost. Jingle Chunshui explained without hesitation. It's not that I deliberately kept a hand, it's just that my child was not in the mood before, so playing with her will always be exhausting. My smallpox crazy bone ability is to turn children's play into reality. The rules of the game are set by Kaden Kyokotsu. Anyone who enters her Ryotsu range must obey the rules. Of course, Jingle Spring Water is also included. Brand Ghosts play that the taller wins, Shadow Ghosts play, and the one whose shadow is trampled loses. The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. They're self-willed, although this is their cuteness. Jingle Chunshui pointed out Kaden Kyokotsu, but it's not good to be always at the mercy of others. With that, he stabbed at the shadow, and the shadow under Stark's feet stretched out the shadow of Kaden Kyokotsu's knife in an instant. Even if it is a shadow, it is real damage. Playing games with children, Captain Jingle's ability is too. Interesting. Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video was a little surprised. Being able to bring the game into reality and still have to abide by the rules of the game sounds pretty impressive. Sure enough. Sato's eyes widened. He didn't expect Jingle to retain so much spring water. In the video, Stark, who was a little surprised by this ability, was still concentrating and immediately dodged the shadow's attack. Admiration. The ability to understand is very strong, Jingle Chunshui sighed. Stark also understood that he couldn't do his best when he was injured. However, when he was in a daze, Jingle Chunshui jumped over and launched the new ghost. I should have reminded you that the one with the highest brand ghost wins. But just as he was about to attack Stark, a pack of wolves rushed towards him, and he dodged immediately, complaining. I almost forgot, you still have a pack of wolves to protect you. It's all right, Stark, don't just stand there. Shut up. If I shut up, you'll be silent, really annoying. The two bicker every day. Huh? You were talking to a girl just now? Jingle Chunshui couldn't hear the exchange of soul vision between the two, and said in surprise. It seems that she is still alive. I remember that you separated your own soul and used it as a weapon, that is, the pack of wolves? Let me guess, as long as the pack of wolves disappears, you will also be injured, right? Stark looked indifferent. Think for yourself. Or, the girl from before disappeared, Chunshui asked. Think for yourself. This guy is so lazy, he doesn't want to say a word. I think he and Lilynette are having a good chat. Omeda complained outside the video. It's like two different people, Jingle Chunshui smiled bitterly. Fighting against this kind of opponent is really exhausting. Jingle Chunshui in the picture was completely fooled by Stark's two sentences of, I think. He complained. It's heartless, thank you for giving you so many hints. I didn't ask you. While talking, Stark was analyzing Jingle Chunshui's ability. On the ground, there are shadow ghosts waiting for an opportunity, while in the sky, because of the new ghosts, it will become a battle for airspace, making him in a dilemma. While thinking, Lilynette came up with a way to do it. Although Stark thought Lilynette was messing around, he followed her advice. Why, what's the trick this time? Jingle Chunshui smiled. It's really bad fun to make fun of life, Stark complained, and the pack of wolves rushed forward. Brand Ghost. Jingle Chunshui jumped up, and when he rushed to Stark, he found that the wolf knife was condensed in his hand. And in the blink of an eye, he was in the sky above him. Jingle Chunshui turned around in an instant, swung out the smallpox mad bone to block. Sorry, just wait for this moment, Shadow Ghost. The corners of Chunshui's mouth raised slightly, looking for an opportunity. He threw out the smallpox bone stab into the shadow of Stark stepping on the wall, and sprang out from the shadow of another place. Stark immediately floated to dodge. He wanted to take advantage of the victory to pursue, but found a pack of wolves appearing behind him, and got into his own shadow. Boom. Immediately after that, counter cero. Lilinet. Seeing the disappearing pack of wolves, Stark panicked. Idiot, I'm still here, Lilinet's voice came out, which made Stark feel much more at ease. Cut. What are you cutting? You're obviously worried to death. When the two were bickering, Jingle Chunshui attacked again. Stark could no longer avoid this distance, but suddenly the pack of wolves stood in front of him and rushed towards Jingle Chunshui. Not so good, 2 whirlwinds fell, and the pack of wolves lost. Lilinet. Hey, Lilinet. Stark called Lilinet's name again, but this time there was no answer. He seemed to understand, his pupils widened and his face was trembling. It was so dangerous just now. I didn't expect your wolves to attack my shadow. The explosion just now was so thrilling, but it was worth it. Let me understand your attack. Only the things bitten by the wolves will be detonated. In other words, if there is something around Jingle Chunshui, it will all be blown away. This role is none other than my own. Well, I can finally be one-on-one. Present world. Lilinet disappeared suddenly, and I felt a little uneasy. Inoue Orihime held her hands in front of her chin, full of melancholy. In our eyes, Stark didn't do anything devoid of conscience, and after defeating his opponent, he still wanted to let his opponent die. He is not too bad, Ichigo said lightly. But Inoue, after all, he is an enemy, we have to take a stand. Orihime nodded. Well, Kurosaki-san, I'm on the captain's side. Void Knight Palace. Seeing Lilinet disappear, Stark shuddered all over. He didn't want to see this result, but he had to face it. In the video screen, Jingle Chunshui riding on Stark was upset and immediately launched a chase. Smallpox slashed Stark's arm. Ghost, Grey. Why'd I have to fight such a powerful character? Stark was depressed. As long as the former companions approached him, their souls would be scattered, and their souls would be divided into 2 in loneliness. He didn't know who was his original appearance, or that they were not the original appearance. But to get rid of loneliness, there is no other way. Stark envies the weak. If he is weak, he can enjoy living in groups. He wants to become weak. If this requirement is too difficult, at least let him find a companion who is as powerful as him. However, at this time, in front of him was a formidable opponent. Lilinite's previous attack made Jingle Chunshui's movements a little slower. Relatively speaking, the wound on Stark's arm was very shallow, but he noticed that the moment his arm was slashed, the deeply wounded wrist almost fell off. And his own wrist is gray, but the body he hit Jingle Chunshui didn't turn gray? It's up to you. Tell me which color you want to cut. Apart from the color you mentioned, there is nothing you can do if you want to cut other parts. Jingle Chunshui reminded. Lilinet, I can still fight, white. Stark encouraged himself, and after saying the color, he slashed at Chunshui. Chunshui's back was cut instantly. Headache, I guessed it right. Chunshui expressed regret. Yongi, even if the color you say is hit by the opponent, it will be hurt, and the color that is more unfavorable to you will hurt the opponent more. White is the color you are hurt by, and the color that does the most damage. He wanted to give a little hint, but Stark guessed the rules all of a sudden. 830. You really are not easy to deal with. The two are intertwined again. Stark also wanted to say, why did he fight against such a powerful person? At this time, Jingle Chunshui threw the Captain Haori, blocking Stark's sight. Stark cut off the captain's Haori with a single knife, but found that Jingle Chunshui, who was wearing a black deathsuit, was already gathering strength. Black. Swish. Hand up the knife and drop it, fresh and sprinkled in the west. Stark was stabbed in the chest and couldn't survive. Looking at Aizen's back in the sky, Stark's mask began to shatter. I'm sorry, Master Aizen. I can't repay your kindness. Not alone anymore. The screen changed. The Dark Hueco Mundo. Do you have a name? Stark asked Lilinet, who had split her soul. Lilinet, do you have a name for my avatar? Lilinet asked back. Stark, what are your plans for the future? Casual. Then, where are you going? Anywhere, let's go together. Tianya Kai Kakuzu together. The video playback ends here. Seirei. Loneliness is synonymous with Stark. After Lilinet disappeared, he seems to have lost his sense of control. Tōshirō frowned tightly. Although he was an opponent, he felt pity for the two of them in his heart. It's a pity, it's just that they followed the wrong person. Joshiro sighed. Just now he saw himself fighting with Lilinite in the video, and now the girl is dead, and his heart is somewhat shaken. It's ridiculous to have sympathy for the enemy. Zaraki Kenpachi shook his head, then turned to look at Jingle Chunshui. This game, played by Captain Jingle, is quite interesting. Let's find a chance to fight. Jingle Chunshui quickly waved his hand. If you compete with Captain Zaraki, it will be more troublesome than Stark. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Aizen wasn't surprised by Stark's failure, he had already guessed this outcome. You didn't use your full strength to the end of your life, Stark. As the first blade, this kind of record is indeed a bit ugly. But Aizen does not regret giving him the title of Espada #1, because he deserves it. At this time, the list has already appeared on the big screen. The 27th place in the power list. Aburai Renji. Name. Aburai Renji. Faction. Seirei identity. Shinigami ability. Bankai. Ix. 92 defense, 92 speed, 90, 90, 92 Kido, 80. Ryotsu. 91 combat power, 85000, huh? Renji, UB ****** D is on the list. Ichigo's pupils exploded. If you think about it with your feet, it is impossible for him to be on the list. If it is outside the first 40, Renji with Bankai still has a chance, but now it is the 27th. Renji himself was also fooled. Is he that powerful? Chapter 93, Hot Spring Rukia. Renji, why are you shaking? Renji himself can't believe that he can be on the list. Strong players appear frequently in the leaderboards. Compared with myself, it is impossible to compete for a place among them. Isn't Renji the vice captain? Is he already strong enough to be ranked 27th higher than the captain? Sato is a bit unbelievable. Who is the last one? Uncle Wolf Stark is so powerful that even Jingle Chunshui feels afraid. If it wasn't because he didn't show his full strength, maybe the situation of the battle would change. However, Abarai Renji is ahead of him. Tell ghosts. Ghosts don't believe it. This? Renji was at a loss for words, not knowing what to say in response. Among the many vice-captains, his strength is very average, but after mastering Bankai, he can barely reach the level of quasi-captain. If it was on the list at the very beginning, there is no doubt, but it is obviously a bit outrageous to reach this point. Rukia isn't all on the list. It's not normal for me to be on the list. Although it's against his will to say such a thing, Renji can only find this reason. Besides, Rukia is not even the chairman. She is ranked in a good position, and she is a vice-captain, and she is ranked 27th. Doesn't it seem reasonable? You're playing the Hukin in your crotch. You're talking nonsense. Kurosaki Ichigo disagreed with Renji's explanation. Rukia doesn't have Bankai now, and later they have Absolute Zero, and Bai Shapu who is so powerful that he outrageously, your baboon king Zabumeru is completely inferior. It seems to be like this. Inoue Orihime also interjected. When fighting against Yami, Renji used Bankai, and Zanpakuto, who turned into a snakebone, was also easily broken away by Yami. It doesn't seem that powerful. Hearing this, the corner of Renji's mouth twitched, and he said in dissatisfaction, there can still be fake rankings, you guys just wait for me. That guy Renji can be ranked 27th. Rukia's eyes widened, his face full of disbelief. Renji, who already owns Bankai, can't even beat the ordinary Espada. Why can he be ranked in front of Stark? And the value of the Kido attribute is only 80, how can it be on the list? As a childhood sweetheart, Rukia often laughed at Renji's Kido, and the value was given to 80. Although it is very low compared to other attributes, she still thinks it is a big deal. Renji. Byakuya Kuchiki was also startled. Countless answers flashed in his mind, all kinds of powerful captains, Quincy Masters, but there was no Abarai Renji. That kid Renji is really working hard, but it's really strange that he ranks so high, or he hasn't stimulated his potential now, Byakuya thought. As Abarai's vice-captain ranks so high, it's really terrifying. Shu Bing was very surprised, thinking that it didn't take long for Renji to become the vice-captain, and he even learned to understand it in a short period of time. Although Bankai's ability is not strong, but this kind of growth rate, isn't it just the protagonist in the novel? The potential is limitless. Thinking about it this way, it makes sense that Renji ranks so high. I usually don't pay much attention to your vice-captain, Byakuya Kuchiki. When he comes back from this world, arrange for him to fight with me. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned grinningly. Byakuya Kuchiki ignored Zaraki Kenpachi, but instead said, Abarai is ranked 27th, maybe the vice-captains present may also be on the follow-up list. What Captain Kuchiki said is that we also have a chance. Rangaku laughed, and immediately felt confident. Tōshirō glanced at her angrily. Rangaku, don't you know yourself? Captain, I'm your vice-captain, you have to trust me, Rangaku said angrily with his hands on his hips. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Abarai Renji, how is this kid? Aizen frowned slightly, feeling a little puzzled. His strength has also been experienced by himself. He should be a character that can be easily killed instantly. Why can he be ranked in front of Espada? Interesting, Abarai Renji, I want to see what you have hidden. With the announcement of Abarai Renji's ranking, part of his record is also announced. Open black lens bracket Abarai Renji vs Aizen Sosuke, defeated, close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Abarai Renji's Kurosaki Ichigo, representing Shinigami, defeated, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Abarai Renji's Zale Aporo, Gulans, Espada number 8, lost, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Abarai Renji's Yami Largo, defeated, close black lens bracket present world. I'm F***********G. Abarai Renji's mouth twitched suddenly after seeing his slash, and he felt bad all over. Where is this announced record? This is clearly a conviction sheet. If they all lost, doesn't it mean that he is a waste? Ha ha ha. Have you ever won a battle? B**********D. Kurosaki Ichigo laughed at the minister. Good guy, the 4 announced results turned out to be all defeats. Is this really a strong player who can be ranked 27th? Although Renji didn't learn Bankai when Renji and Byakuya Kuchiki came to reality to take Rukia away and fight with him, but he just had the power of Shinigami. Shut up, B************, D, yelled at Ichigo twice. My record against Aizen should have been many years ago. At that time, Aizen was still the captain of the 5th team. It is not normal to lose. And that guy Ichigo has cheats, so it's normal for me to lose, right? Renji murmured in his heart, but Zale Aporo, he had never met Gulons, so he didn't know how he lost, but Espada, who was only ranked 8th, lost himself. Seirei. The corner of Byakuya Kuchiki's mouth twitched, this record is too ugly. If it wasn't for the fact that Renji was his vice-captain, he would have scolded his mother a long time ago. Forget it, Byakuya Kuchiki, I still won't fight with this guy. If I add another defeat, Abarai will lose face. Zaraki Kenpachi shook his head, he was not interested in such an opponent at all. Void Knight Palace. Huh? The guy who lost both fights with me is actually ranked 27th? Zale Aporo was a little hard to accept. So, I can be ranked before 27th? Zale Aporo, what are you thinking? Didn't Lousy easily handle Abarai Renji and rank behind him? Yami looked at Zale Aporo, dissatisfied. Any kind of rubbish can be on the list, which makes me suspicious of this list. It's too fake. If we follow this ranking, at least 9 of our Espada will be on the list. Zamari Ruro is gearing up. If the 8th blade can defeat Abarai Renji, then he, who is on the 7th blade, must also be able to easily win. Aluru Yali. I'm a trash when I co-authored it. Yami. Who made you the 9th blade? Watching a few people arguing, Holly Bell glanced at them and said in a deep voice. There is no need to doubt, even though Abarai did not show a strong suppression before, don't forget that in the original video, he and Rukia Kuchiki appeared together. It was that appearance, Rukia seemed to be a different person, not only using Absolute Zero, but also using Bankai. Changes cannot only exist in one person, and Abarai Renji has definitely become stronger. Amidst the doubts of many people, the video began to play the screen. Kilin Temple, Hot Spring. Kurosaki Ichigo is taking a bath with Tōshirō. This bamboo tube knocking stones is killing humans. No, that's not what I want to complain about. Kurosaki Ichigo stood up and yelled at Tōshirō. It's so noisy, don't let the towel fall off your head. Tōshirō yelled back. At this time, it was the end of the invasion of the Soul Society led by the Star-Crossed Knights led by Yuhabach. Ichigo, Renji and others were seriously injured and taken to the palace of the Soul King. Why are you here leisurely soaking in hot springs? What on earth am I doing here? Ichigo is a little hard to understand. He came to Lingwang Palace to repair Zanpakuto. Why did he come here to soak in the hot spring? Oh, why go to the hot springs, so what's the point? Tōshirō snorted coldly, and then Byakuya's head floated out of the water. Not good, it actually floated up. Tien Shilong hurriedly pushed him into the water. Byakuya. Ichigo was stunned for a moment, and quickly complained. Wait, why did you press him down? It will kill people. When did you bring the Japanese war into it? Hawking is so loud, it's not just Byakuya. Tōshirō stretched his hand into the water angrily, then grabbed Renji's head, pulling him up like pulling a carrot. Renji. Turns out like a carrot. Ichigo was completely stunned, and then turned his head to look, and Rukia's buttocks also floated up. Why don't you complain about being like a peach? Tien Shilong smiled. It's up to you. The corner of Ichigo's mouth twitched. Seirei outside the video. Sure enough, the hot springs are definitely not for nothing, and we will always be surprised, right, Rukia? Jingle Chunshui looked sideways at Rukia. Unexpectedly, this little girl is flat in the front, but quite upturned in the back. Rukia blushed, a little shy, and complained in her heart. Heaven has reincarnation, who will the heavens spare? Obviously, Captain Kuchiki, Deputy Captain Abarai, and Rukia were all seriously injured. Could it be that the hot spring there is the same as the hot spring that Ichigo soaked in Urahara Kazuki last time, and it has the effect of repairing injuries? Shu Bing was full of curiosity. And he also imagined that the heavy injuries suffered by several people must have something to do with the Quincy's invasion. After Byakuya Kuchiki and Renji who thought they were defeated, Rukia and Ichigo also failed. Yes, otherwise, how could Tianshilong of Kilin Temple be called the Spring Soup Ghost? Yunohana Retsu said lightly, the hot springs here are much more effective than those in Kazuki. That's why. Rukia suddenly realized that the high probability of her promotion was inseparable from entering the Spirit King Palace. If this is the reason, then Asanjin Renji must have realized some moves, so it is easy to understand that he is ranked 27th. TB. Byakuya Kuchiki also received the same treatment. Will the already strong elder brother become stronger after being treated? Can the ranking enter the top 20? Reality. UB*********D. Who are you calling a carrot? Renji grabbed Ichigo's face and pulled. Ichigo immediately fought back. UB********D. Who made your hair red? No, you are not a carrot, you are a sweet potato. In the video screen. If you don't want to complain, just be honest with me. Now that you have soaked obediently like this, the traumatized Ryotsu will be squeezed out along with the blood, Tianshiro explained. Ichigo is a bit vague on the concept. Traumatized Ryotsu? Can you see that red hot spring over there? Tōshirō saw that Ichigo was a little confused, so he pointed to the pool next to him. Why can't I see the hot spring? Isn't it written, blood pool hell? It was written like that. Tōshirō directly mentioned Byakuya and threw it into the blood pool hell. Seeing this, one family went crazy, shouted, "What are you doing? Byakuya's life is dying. Drain the blood in this bone hell, replenish it in the blood pool hell, and repeat this several times, and finally the rotting gore and ryotsu in the body will be replaced by my hot spring water." Tōshirō explained. This is how he treats, far more effective than healing with Kaido. Backquote, is this method really possible? Ichigo was a little surprised. Tōshirō asked, do you still remember the hot springs at Urahara-Kazuki? That is the hot spring where Ichigo and Shihoin Yoruichi are facing each other, how could he forget? Of course, we are talking about the therapeutic effects of the hot springs. That's what Urahara-Kazuki tried to imitate after analyzing my hot spring. You have such a small injury, and after a while, your physical fitness will definitely surpass that before. Then Tōshirō and his subordinates forced Ichigo to hold his breath in the water. In order to show his resistance, Ichigo had to attack two big men in the bath. This annoyed Tōshirō, and he punched Ichigo. B**********D. What are you doing? Ichigo got up in a rage. But Tien Shilong told him very flatly, you have already been cured, if you hadn't recovered, you would have died from the blow just now. Only then did Ichigo realize his changes, and indeed all the wounds disappeared. You have nothing to do here, go through the formalities to go to the next place. Tien Shilong turned around and waved his hands. I want to go too. Suddenly another voice appeared, and Renji, who was wrapped in bandages all over his body, stood up and said that he would also go with him. Present world. B*********D. Your injury is worse than mine. You look like a mummy. Hurry up and recover from your injury. Okay. Ichigo cursed, although he was cursing, but he really felt sorry for Renji in his heart. Worry. Failure to heal the injury may lead to future troubles. Shout. You guys are all well, how can I lag behind you? Renji snorted coldly, with a haughty look on his face. Inoue Orihime said, the effect of this hot spring is even better than my treatment effect, and it should be fine after 2 times. Renji nodded and smiled, and then looked at Ichigo. It's still a girl who is sensible, learn from others. B********D. HMPH, the consequences of being brave are very serious, Ichigo snorted coldly. Seirei. What a powerful effect, Ichigo's injury was healed in a blink of an eye, and my brother should be able to recover as well. Rukia's eyebrows showed concern, and the scene of Byakuya Kuchiki being beaten by Ace Knot came to her mind again. Although Byakuya reappeared in the follow-up, she was not sure whether all, what's good, were cured. It shouldn't be a problem, we've all entered the blood pool hell. Yunohana Retsu's light froze. It really has such a strange effect, it's worthy of the Zero Division. Shu Bing's eyes widened. Yeah, let me tell you guys by the way. Jingle Chunshui stroked the bamboo hat, his eyes sank, and then he said, the fighting strength of the 5 captains of the Zero Division is higher than the sum of our Godate 13. Higher than the sum of the 13 teams? Toshiro's pupils exploded in shock when he heard it. He thought that Team Zero was very strong, but it's too exaggerated to be so strong. It's too scary. It can be seen from the previous battles of the Zero Division that Shutara Senjumaru and Tenshiro were very powerful. Shu Bing swallowed a mouthful of spit. When I first took stock of Quincy Division W, there was a brief battle scene. And in Team Zero, Tianmaru and Tenshiro are not considered strong, Jingle Chunshui said as if bluffing. Really, there are captains stronger than them? Everyone had the same idea in their hearts, but they seemed to understand it just by seeing Tianshilang's hot spring. The video screen continues. Renji, what are you talking about? You haven't recovered yet. Ichigo was a little worried about Renji's condition. But Tien Shilong punched him without saying a word. Boom. The spring water of Baigu Hot Spring exploded instantly, spraying Joe in all directions. How? I haven't flown away yet. Renji snorted coldly with his mouth raised. Tianshiro was a little surprised at once, but he took a serious look and found that Renji's whole body was shaking. He seemed to understand Renji's determination, waved his hand and said, that's fine, since you can withstand my fist, you should be fine. Just as Renji wanted to be happy, 2 of Tenshiro's men raised their fists. Whoosh! Ichigo and Renji flew out like rockets launched. Present world. HMPH, Ichigo, I will never fall behind. Renji secretly clenched his fists and thought to himself. Then he complained. This is the way of exiting, it's too outrageous. Chapter 94, Renji pretend failed, 1 mile art, close black lens bracket. Then the video screen turned, on the battlefield of the real-world city. The hero Marcus used the pentagram ray above his head to penetrate Rojiro's body. The light of the hero, the villain deserves to die, Masuko laughed excitedly. Rampant laughter echoed throughout the ruins, Visored. No way, why did the scene of me being beaten appear again? The corner of Lu Shilang's mouth twitched. When he was taking stock of Masuko, he was penetrated by the hero ray, and he wanted to find a hole to get in. Bankai used it all, but was successfully restrained by the opponent who pierced the eardrum. It's embarrassing to say it, ha ha ha, Ross, this time it's a Sanjin Renji, not you, and the last time you took stock of Masuko. The video ended right after you were penetrated. I still want to know if you're alright, Luo Wu said. Although the body is penetrated, it is bound to be seriously injured, but for the captain level Lushiro, it is not fatal. If there is no rescue in the follow-up, then he will undoubtedly die. Oh, it's disgusting to exit in such an extremely unartistic way. Lu Shilong sighed. The video screen continues to play. Lushiro, who was lying on the ground, moved his fingers suddenly, and this tiny detail was noticed by Ma CK. Aren't you dead yet? Masuko was very angry. After being hit by the hero ray, he still didn't die? It's unforgivable for a villain to have such tenacious vitality. Go to hell. He put his finger on his forehead again, and the 5-pointed star ray shot out again. Boom. The ray exploded violently, but this time the explosion didn't hit Lujiro's body. Just in time, Abarai Renji blocked the blow with Zabumaru in hand. At this time, Renji was wearing a short cape with a pattern of tiger skin and the same style of goggles as Rukia. Temperament is completely different from before, reality. Kurosaki Ichigo, don't think that you are the only one who saves the scene, I have it too. Seeing himself like this, Renji's hanging heart finally let go. Because he knows that after a trip to the Lingwang Palace, his strength has been greatly improved. Shout, save the game, what's the big deal, I don't only have one save. Kurosaki Ichigo curled his mouth slightly and crossed his arms. Renji's outfit has also undergone some changes, isn't it a brand new Death Thunder outfit? Inoue Orihime asked curiously. The tiger skin texture is indeed too attractive, and Rukia also wore goggles before. Although Renji appeared on the scene before, it was only a distant figure and the 700 costume was not visible. Maybe, Moss is the 35th guy, right? You just have to see how he dies next, Renji said confidently. Visored. Fortunately, Sanjing Renji came in time, otherwise you would be gone. Ross, Luo Wu sighed. The process was a bit ups and downs, but the result was good. Nice. Abarai Renji's appearance and rescue is really art. Lujiro clapped his hands. This way of appearance was in line with his understanding of art in his heart. In the video screen, Ma Si could be surprised when Abarai Renji suddenly appeared. You actually bounced the star flash away, who are you? Renji stared. I'm a villain. Take the path of the villain and let the villain have nowhere to go. At this time, another figure appeared behind Renji. It was Rukia who came back from the Lingwang Palace at the same time. Captain 6th Car and Captain Fengzhou, I'll leave it to you. Renji told Rukia. Don't waste time, I'll deal with him alone. Seeing this, Musk was very excited, but Rukia frowned, but still agreed. She knew that the other party was not Renji's opponent now. After wrapping Lujiro and Muguruma Kensai in white cloth, Rukia looked at Renji with entrusting eyes and said slowly, I leave it to you. Then she left with the two of them. The speed was so fast that Musk didn't even react. What are you doing? You can't do it 2-on-1. Marcus rubbed his chin, wondering. The two captains just now were despicable 2-on-1. Villains are despicable after all. It doesn't matter if you use despicable means. Renji's eyes sank. Oh, thank you in advance, then I will use despicable means to defeat you. But embarrassingly, Ma CK put his hand next to his ear and murmured. You seem to have said something, but unfortunately, I haven't heard anything since just now. Yes, my eardrum it was pierced. My mother forgot about this. He didn't hear what I said in the video. The corners of Renji's mouth outside the video twitched twice. This is too embarrassing. Finally made a grand appearance, and then pretended to be aggressive. Even uttered the villain's declaration, but the other party didn't hear his fart? Ha ha ha, failed to pretend, you are so embarrassing, Renji. Seeing this, Ichigo laughed directly, come on, you can defeat this guy who made you pretend to fail. Musk, who has lost his eardrum, will lose some judgment to a certain extent, and Renji has the upper hand in all situations. Sereti. AEDG. This Masuko is really naughty. Rukia's expression was also frozen. He knew from the very beginning that Masuke pierced the eardrum against Rojiro's Bankai. In the end, I watched Abarai Renji chatting about it for a long time, which was nothing. On the contrary, Masuko acted as if he heard everything, making Renji believe that he heard it, which is the most annoying. When Masuko pierced the eardrum, Vice Captain Abarai was not there, so he didn't know, so he pretended in vain. Shu Bing covered his mouth and smiled. Kira took over. This couldn't be more irritating to Vice Captain Abarai. Return to the video screen. Musk shouted into the distance. Hey, James. I'm here, sir, are you calling me? James responded. Watching this scene, Renji was a little confused. Who is that guy? Can he still live with such a serious injury? The body has been divided into two by Lushiro, but can he still speak normally? I need solidarity, James. I hope to heal me with the solidarity of fans. Musk shouted at James. Understood, it's a trivial matter. James dragged his upper body, jumped up, and clenched his fists, roaring like a star fan. Come on, superstar. Listening to James's solidarity, Musk's ears tightened like chrysanthemums, and then. Miraculously recovered. Oh, the eardrum has been repaired, a brilliant revival of the eardrum. What the hell ability can repair the pierced eardrum? Tōshirō outside the video frowned, feeling incredible. It only takes 2 shouts from the fans, and the injury can be recovered directly. It's so weird. When he first took stock of Masuko, he thought that Masuko could only strengthen his own ability with the power of solidarity, and even such irreversible injuries could be repaired. There are some bugs. This is the fastest healing method I've ever seen. Even Tenshiro's hot spring from Team Zero doesn't have such a miraculous effect. Rangaku also expressed emotion. And that James, who was cut in 2, is still alive. What monsters are these 2 guys? What an interesting creature. Kurotsuchi Mayuri showed a smirk, becoming interested in James. Although this ability is not beyond his cognition, it is enough to shock him. Wouldn't it be great if they could be captured and used as test subjects? Yeah, it seems that Captain Ni has become interested in that fan. When the time comes, tell Deputy Captain Aburaya to bring the fan back to you. Jingle Chunshui looked at each other and smiled. Shout, do I still need his help? Just leave Masuko to me to deal with it. Kurotsuchi Mayuri snorted coldly. Invisible Empire. James, I'm sorry I didn't kill the guy who cut you, Musk said to James very apologetically. It's okay sir, we can just defeat Aburaya Renji in front of us. James raised his hands and encouraged. Musk nodded excitedly. It's natural to defeat the villains. In the video screen, after Musk's eardrum recovered, he looked at Renji and shouted, I can hear clearly, how about it, villain, say something to let me try my hearing. Renji knew that Masuko perverted, but he didn't expect to be so perverted. Scolding. What a disgusting guy. Confirmed, bad words, never forgive. Musk was angry and instantly ejected and started. Star Rocket Headhammer. Boom. The violent impact produces extremely shocking fluctuations. Musk was very proud, ha ha ha, smash under the hammer of justice, die, villain. Suddenly, he brought something. Soon he realized that his head was bumped sideways. Renji looked grim and slammed his elbow into Musk's head. Boom. Masuko's head was like a falling meteorite, smashing directly into the ground, and the powerful shockwave created a circular deep pit around it. Ha! That's how it is. Ma CK jumped up in pain, his nose and mouth were already bleeding, but suddenly realized. Not only dodged my super blow, but also elbowed me in the face. It doesn't seem to be hit by luck. Musk was irritated, and after a short complaint, he stared at Renji viciously and continued. But you made a mistake and those 10 blows just now angered me, a star. He clenched his fists tightly, and the red gloves with the black 5-pointed star were almost bursting. Look, this is the star emblem that appears on the fist with anger. This is the superstar chosen to defeat evil proof. Star. Killer punch. Boom. Spirit Suns surged out and attacked Aburaya Renji heavily. After the appearance of the star emblem, Masuko's strength skyrocketed. How about it, villain? The power of the star emblem is 10 times that of my usual punches. This is the so-called Iron Fist of Justice. Under the power of justice, obediently. Die with your brain burst. But in the next second, Renji opened his hand slightly, and he easily received the killing punch. 10 times the power, that's it. The corner of Renji's mouth slanted outside the video, and he crossed his arms, full of disdain. He can't pretend in the video, he pretends in reality. There's something. Ichigo frowned slightly, feeling incredible at Renji's strength improvement. The extremely fast speed of the head hammer, he was able to easily avoid it and counterattack, which is an increase in speed. After receiving a 10 times stronger killing punch, this is an increase in strength. He can see that Aburaya Renji at this time is stronger than any time he has appeared in the video. Invisible Empire. How possibly? Masuko's expression suddenly became terrified. The 10 times more powerful killing fist was handled so easily. And Aburaya Renji's contemptuous expression is really cheap. Killing and killing the heart. Oh, Masuko. The opponent you meet is not easy to deal with. He is in a state after level training. It is understandable that you can't beat him. Askin shook his head and said. What do you mean I can't beat him? When I try my best, I will be able to beat him. Musk is not giving up easily, in the video screen. Renji looked contemptuously. What's the matter, can't the sage kill the Shinigami? This sentence completely angered Masuko. He roared, his eyes were bloodshot. Damn boy, a villain in the district actually blocked the hero's fist. Do you think you are amazing? Kill, 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 kill. Marcus shook his fist quickly. But at this moment, James's voice came. Sir, I'm sorry. Immediately afterwards he was cut into pieces. Sadly, Moss didn't know what happened. This is naturally done by Renji. I'm sorry. While you were still addicted to Fist of Justice, I got rid of him first. Holding Zabumaru in his hand, Renji smiled lightly. In this way, I'm afraid you won't be able to recover at any time, right? Musko pointed at Renji madly. It's so despicable. B*****************. What, don't you know, villains are despicable after all. Renji responded with what Musk had just said. Immediately afterwards, a knife fell. A knife mark was cut on Musk's abdomen, blood sprayed out, and his body fell down. Just when Renji thought that the opponent would settle the matter and turned away, Masuko's voice sounded again. Hi. He stood up again like a carp. I won't die, I won't die. Seeing this, Renji's pupils shrank suddenly, feeling a little surprised. What the hell, can't you kill him? Renji outside the video is a little annoyed. James has already been killed. Why is Musk still acting like a normal person? Is this guy immortal? Ichigo was surprised and made a guess at the same time, but it shouldn't be. If he has an immortal body, the ranking cannot be only 35. It's troublesome, so let's try to kill it again. Renji smiled lightly. In the video, Musk tells Renji that he will not die at all. How could a star be killed by a villain? You think so too, James. When Musk called out, James, who had already become a piece of meat, answered with his mouth, yes, sir. Immediately afterwards, a brand new and sound little James came out of his mouth. Not only that, other flesh and blood were also reorganized into little James. Renji's pupils exploded. He had never seen such a scene before. Divide infinitely like a cell? Come on, come on, come on, superstar. The cheering sounds of nearly 10 little James were mixed together, which seemed a bit noisy, but it gave Musko strength. Oh! Hearing this sound like a tide, Marcus roared crazily. The cheers poured into his body like power, and his clothes burst open in an instant. Star power, upgrade is complete. Masuko's strong muscles were exposed, even the color of the mask changed, and a golden belt even appeared around his waist. He has grown and become stronger, you villain, your performance is over, you can die, he confidently pronounced the death sentence on Renji. Renji was a little embarrassed and looked gloomy. It's fine if you increase your explosive power, why even the style of the mask will change accordingly. Suddenly, Musk pointed to Renji, and he remembered Renji's identity. You are the villain who was kicked away by me with star-flying body. Superstars don't remember the enemies they defeated, so I only remember it now. Renji was speechless, thinking that this guy didn't even know who his opponent was, so he just fought for a long time. I don't know how a third-rate character like you grows into such a tough villain, but to force me to use my true strength against you, as a villain. You should feel the disc. After finishing speaking, Ma CK rushed over. Accept this move, this is my true strength's nirvana, shing, hugging the neck to block, shing. With a bang punch, Renji parried with Zanpakuto but was still sent flying. Seeing this, Ma CK is very proud, his real power can solve the enemy a mile away, known as Tone British Art. Chapter 95, Suzumebachi, Byakuya people are stupid, seeking subscription. The life force is so tenacious. After being cut into 8 petals, it can still be alive and reborn? Hanataru's pupils exploded, which is unbelievable. As the chief executive of the rescue team of the 4th Division, this ability is indeed beyond his cognition. Unohana Retsu was also surprised. James's rebirth ability is simply outstanding. Moreover, when the opponent was obsessed with punching, Renji considered getting rid of James first. As a result, the reborn James even sent out stronger solidarity, allowing Musk to evolve. Is this Masuko's complete Eucharist? Shu Bing was curious. Among the Quincy Masters he had seen before, the change in form generally turned into a complete holy body, and the ability was greatly improved. Just now Musk's so-called 1-mile art, but Abarai Renji who easily caught his fist just now was knocked into the air. It shouldn't be the holy body. The Quincy Masters have the same characteristics when they enter the holy body. Kira expressed her conjecture, for example, Pepe, Lilito and other Quincy Masters will all have headaches when they enter the holy body. Rings and small wings. Although Ji Luji's perfect body wings are much larger than other Quincy Masters, it is still an indispensable process. In the video, Masuko's back is bare, so it's not a complete Eucharist at first glance. Yes, this is not the perfect Eucharist, but the improvement of this kind of power does not seem to be much different from the perfect Eucharist. Kurotsuchi Mayuri smiled lightly, and his curiosity about James became stronger in his heart. Present world. Really, Renji, are you still the opponent? Ichigo rubbed his eyes, and couldn't believe what happened before his eyes. This Nima is a fan. This is clearly an octopus. The corner of Renji's mouth raised slightly when he heard this, isn't it because his strength has become stronger, so I will still hang him. Invisible Empire. James is great. James is great. Musk made a Superman gesture and shouted at James excitedly. James raised his arm and waved it like a glow stick. Come on sir, you are a superhero, it is my honor to cheer for a superhero. In the video screen, Renji, who was punched flying by Masuko's Star Wanik, slammed into the wall, suffering unspeakably. Stars, stars, stars. Musko waved his fists again and again as desperately as before. But this time the fist was not as fragile as the last time. The fist wind produced was like a shockwave, knocking Renji back continuously. Renji wanted to grab the wall to gain a firm foothold, but the strong impact force was not something the wall could absorb at all. The wall was directly buckled and rotted, and his body continued to fly backwards. Ha 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 ha. Musk opened his mouth and laughed wildly, which made him very happy, facing the superstar's super strength. Even small things like grabbing the wall with your hands and stepping on the ground are not allowed. You will be blown away forever in the air. Then, In front of the superstar surrounded by the majesty of God, you don't even have a chance to land, and you will directly turn into dust and die. While Renji was still in the air and unable to move, Musk showed his star and entered the state of complete Eucharist. A five-pointed star emerges behind his head, and a cloak-like spiritual wing appears on his body. A three-dimensional five-pointed star with slender wings is worn in the center of his chest, and the belt worn around his waist also emits star-shaped light. This is his true full-bodied superstar form. So handsome, superstar, so handsome. Little James once again cheered on Musk. Cero. This is his complete body. Is Vice Captain Aburai his opponent? Kira swallowed. Although Renji is far ahead of Masco in the rankings, the situation has changed 360 degrees since Masco transformed. In the enhanced state, Musk can knock Renji away with a single punch, let alone finish the Eucharist. Don't underestimate Renji, his Zanpakuto doesn't have a Bankai yet. Rukia frowned slightly. In the battle just now, Renji had been using Shikai's Zabumeru, and the Baboon King Zabumeru was still hidden in his hand. That's right, Vice Captain Aburai should be able to use the moves he used when he dealt with Yami last time, Shu Bing said. In the video screen, after James's solidarity, Ma Si can directly eject and start, and his wings draw a five-pointed star-shaped light wave in midair. Get ready, let's take the move. Musk stretched his body in the air, gathered all his strength to emit light waves, star flash. In the blink of an eye, the light waves of the five-pointed star all merged together, and the laser beam of the five-pointed star appeared and shot downward. Supernova. Boom. The flash exploded on the ground like an atomic bomb, and a star-shaped crater was instantly blasted below, and a fiery wave swept across the entire real-world city. Farewell, villain. Looking at the mushroom cloud of spiritual seeds soaring into the sky, Ma CK was very proud, thinking that the guy should be finished. This is the end that villains should have, star, superstar. James applauds it. Ha ha ha, don't worry about James, you are one with me, as long as I am alive, you will be reborn. Musk was about to revive the complete James, but at this moment, there was some movement in the mushroom cloud of spirit seeds. Something seems to appear in the smoke. Musk took a closer look, and immediately frowned. Judging from the outline, it was Aburai Renji who was standing. Is this red-haired villain still alive? Soon, a huge snake skull emerged. This is the so-called Bankai. Musk seemed to understand that Renji saved his life through Bankai. To launch a move on the brink of death, how pathetic. That guy Renji is finally using Bankai, he doesn't shit until he gets to his A***, right? Rukia complained outside the video. Use Bankai early and get rid of opponents early. The huge ray of the five-pointed star, this should be Masco's strongest ultimate move, right? Tōshirō guessed, although he is not sure, but Masco used too many moves, and Star Flash specially used it at the end released in the Holy Body state, it should be the whole card. Renji's Bankai actually defended against this move, and his influence on the Baboon King Zabumeru has improved. Is the improvement so big? Byakuya Kuchiki secretly sighed. Seeing such a powerful Renji, he was very happy in his heart. In the video screen, the snake skull in the smoke suddenly appeared with an arm above it, and then the snake skull began to swallow the smoke frantically, and then, a handful of Zanpakuto spit out from its mouth. Musk was shocked beyond words. What's going on? What happened? Bankai. Is it something that can change the appearance? After waiting for the smoke to clear, Zanpakuto revealed its true colors. You thought it was a king baboon rattlesnake? What the hell, twice your Bankai is not like this. Kurosaki Ichigo outside the video looked at him twice in amazement. The Baboon King Zabumeru has seen him many times, but he has never seen a snake skull that can spit out Zanpakuto. Did it evolve? Renji was also a little confused. You ask me, who should I ask? But he could tell that Bankai in this form is definitely much stronger than the current Baboon King Zabumeru. Seirei. Rukia and Ichigo have the same question. How did the well-behaved Baboon King Zabumeru become so strange? Could it be that because Renji himself became stronger, Tien also changed accordingly? She couldn't find an answer. Has Bankai changed? Tōshirō's eyes wandered, as if thinking of himself. Not quite Bankai. The answer that Tōshirō can give is this one, like Daigor and Hiranmaru, which is not perfect now. Could it be that Zabumeru, the Baboon King, is also incomplete? But at this time, the picture suddenly changed, the period of spiritual palace practice. The monk holds Zabumeru and tells Renji something very embarrassing. Renji, your baboon, Zabumeru, has the wrong name. Oh. Renji was stunned. After calling out his name so many times, you actually said it was fake? Acting like he picked up his Bankai. What's going on here? Renji wanted to ask clearly, so as not to make himself confused. Renji's reaction made the monk a little embarrassed. He stroked his beard and reorganized the language. It's wrong to say it, you may not understand. That's just half of its name. In other words, it only tells you half of your name, and only half of your recognition. Hearing this explanation, Renji was directly unwilling. We have fought together so far, are you lying? How can you say that Zabumeru only half approved of himself? Obviously, I have been by my side for decades, even if I didn't have feelings at the beginning, it should be cultivated by now. That is really hard to say, so I will tell you its real name next, the monk said. Renji was confused again. Why should the monk tell him the names of his Zanpakuto and Bankai? The monk explained. The name Lord Lingwang bestowed on me is, I monk. Which means, call out the real name, and the Chinese characters are written like this, the real name is Huhei. And the name Zanpakuto was given by him. Renji was curious and surprised when he heard such a secret for the first time. The monk continued. Shikai, the names I have given are all given by me. Not only that, he named everything in Soul Society. At the same time, I also gave all Zanpakuto names. The moment Wang Yu handed over the sealed state to the Shinigami, I knew their names. Renji, now I will tell you the name of Zabumaru's real Bankai, just call that name and let Zabumaru recognize your strength. Nani, there is such a thing? Rukia's expression tightened outside the video. It's not because Renji mispronounced Bankai's name, but because he was surprised by the ability of the monk of the Zero Division. All the things in Soul Society are named after him, in other words, he is the god of Soul Society. That is to say, our current Zanpakuto and Bankai are named after that Team Zero? Tōshirō asked in surprise. As the captain, he didn't know these things at all. He had only heard of the existence of the Zero Division, but he really didn't know its capabilities. Zero. Asking for flowers. Yes. The corner of Jingle Chunshui's mouth twitched, and he said in a deep voice. Vice Captain Abarai learned Bankai's real name from the monk, so Bankai who has gained full strength will change. Horror, is this Team Zero? Rukia swallowed, present world. Ha ha ha, it's so funny to have an idiot who mispronounced his Bankai's name. Kurosaki Ichigo pointed at Renji with a mocking smile on his face. This kind of thing is simply too embarrassing for Shinigami. Complete when he became a Shinigami, Zanpakuto was always by his side, no one would call his companion by the wrong name. A-hole, didn't you hear what that monk said? All Zanpakuto are named after him, so your Tensa Zangetsu is also named after him. Renji retorted angrily. Road. Even if it is, I didn't call Tensa Zangetsu's name wrong. Ichigo's mouth twitched, his expression a little embarrassed. Renji didn't pay attention to him anymore, and felt incredible for the monks of Team Zero. At the same time, Shinian was too eager when he saw Bankai's method, and Zanpakuto didn't recognize himself, and he also. It is reasonable. Now he is looking forward to what brand new power zone he will gain after fully Bankai. Void Knight Palace. As expected of Team Zero, Ichibei Hayasubi. Aizen clapped his hands lightly. Attacking the Lingwang Palace, the most difficult team to deal with is the monk. Although there is not a lot of information about the Zero Division, but after merging with Hogyoku, he feels that he does not need to worry so much. But at present, the abilities possessed by this monk are not weaker than the self after fusing with Hogyoku. Interesting, Ichibei Hayasubi, Invisible Empire. Zero, the corners of Yuhabach's mouth leaning on his arm lifted slightly. Squad Zero is just a bunch of ants, you are the gods of the Soul Society, and I am your god. The video screen returns to the battlefield in the real-world city. Renji calls out the brand new Bankai, Su Zabumaru. He raised his arms, and Su Zabumaru had completely emerged from the smoke. Behind Bankai, Renji's neck and shoulders are covered by light armor, and the head of the snake skull covers Renji's right arm, holding a knife in his right hand, and there is a huge baboon bone arm behind his left arm. And dyed in baboon skin. Very different from the previous Baboon King Zabumaru. What a dangerous villain, that Bankai is very dangerous. Musk was stunned, and then went into a rage. It even blocked the strongest nirvana of a big star like me, see. Come will never let you live. Now his heart is aflame with the righteousness that must be brought out by Renji. A flame that can destroy everything. Turn into ashes. Masco left his feet off the ground and rushed away like a shell. King Baboon. Renji immediately shook his left arm, and the huge Baboon King bone arm struck in an instant, blocking Masco's fist, and the muffled sound was enough to burst the eardrum. What is this? Ma Saik was not convinced, and immediately stepped on the Baboon King bone arm with both feet, trying to pull his arm out. However, at this time, Renji slammed his hand, Masco's arm was torn off, and then flew out. Use his own way to treat his own body. But Musk was not as calm as Renji at all, he roared. Damn guy, you broke the left arm of my big star. You be *******D. What justice, evil. Evil doesn't matter anymore, I'm going to kill you. Big Snake King. At this time, Renji stabbed Zanpakuto in his right arm again, and it pierced Masco's body in a flash. Musco gliding in midair, he clenched his right fist and wanted to counterattack. Su Zabumaru. Snake Tooth Iron Cannon. Renji didn't give Musk a chance at all, and a cannon had already exploded. Musk's body was blasted from the middle and burned to death. Turned to ashes, blown away with the wind. That's what you wish, superstar. Renji's eyes froze, the battle is over. The video playback ends here. Seirei, so strong, Byakuya Kuchiki showed a rare surprised expression. Whether it's speed or strength, the Renji after regaining Bankai is definitely dozens of times stronger than the current Renji. Moreover, Suzumebachi maintains the form of Zanpakuto, and also possesses the bone arm of the Baboon King with infinite power. The Snake King and the Baboon King have been separated, and they play their respective advantages in battle. Compared with the previous Baboon King Zabumeru, Suzumebachi's snake body skeleton has become lighter and faster, and it will follow Renji's movements during the battle, moving and dancing like a long whip. The two forms of Baboon King and Serpent King can be switched freely. One mountain cannot accommodate two tigers, but in the hands of Captain Abarai, it can accommodate two kings. Each form of the Baboon King and the Snake King has its own advantages. He has already surpassed me. Komamura Sajin sighed. As the captain, he felt a little guilty. Captain Komamura, you don't have to blame yourself. The Vice-Captain Abarai in the video is our captain, not his opponent. Omeda looked at Komamura Sajin and said decisively. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Without saying a word, Sui Feng threw his fist at Guang. Chapter 96, Tōshirō is on the list, and Hinamori is nothing to worry about, seeking subscription. Omeda covered his distorted fat face and complained, "Captain, what I said is the truth." Sui Feng glanced at him. "Shut your mouth. Although Abarai Renji's strength has improved several levels, even the captain on the field cannot guarantee that he can beat Renji, who has fully mastered Bankai. Of course one of them is her, Sui Feng. But Omeda said it in public, wouldn't it embarrass her too much? It's really interesting, ha ha ha." Zaraki Kenpachi's smile suddenly went crazy, and his attitude towards Abarai Renji changed again. "I thought his strength was at the quasi-captain level, but I didn't expect that he has surpassed some captains now. If he fights with me, will he continue to stimulate his potential?" Rukia pouted, just looking at Kenpachi, who was smiling wildly. She guessed what Kenpachi was holding back, and said lightly, "Even if Renji uses Suzumebachi, he is not your opponent." "Ahem, if we don't fight, who knows the result?" Kenpachi coughed lightly, put away the complacency on his face a little bit. He was spotted before he said he was going to fight Renji? "Ha ha ha, Ajien, I don't think Abarai wants to fight with you either." Yachinliu laughed. Present world. Suzumebachi, what a perfect name. Renji was absent-minded, staring at the front, indulging in the scene just now and unable to extricate himself. "Hey hey hey, wake up." Kurosaki Ichigo whispered close to Renji's ear, then yelled loudly. Renji shivered in fright. "You be *******D, you're going to die." Renji complained with his eyes wide open. "If I don't interrupt you again, I think your face will bloom." Ichigo shook his head, although the ability to improve is worthy of celebration, but people can't become stupid. Suzumebachi, abandoning the original heavy snake bones, it has become easier to control, and the shape can be switched to cope with different battle situations. This is a qualitative leap. Ishida Uryu stroked the glasses frame. 357, said by Ken. "That's the name. Suzumebachi, is it because of the Baboon King and the Big Snake King, so it's called the Double King?" Inoue Orihime thinks Suzumebachi is not as good as Baboon King Zabumeru. Yeah. Renji glanced up, hesitated for a second, the team. Turning around and thinking about it, this is indeed the case. If Inoue Orihime hadn't said so, I really wouldn't have realized that the name after Bankai was so sloppy. But the aura I shouted in the video just now is not worse than now, that's enough. Snake Tooth Cannon, Renji, do you know how to do this now? Ichigo asked curiously. Renji shook his head. Of course not, otherwise, I should use it when fighting against Yami, and kill him instantly. He is not bragging, the power of the Snake Tooth Iron Cannon is obvious to all, and the energy wave generated is by no means something ordinary Shinigami can block, and its power is comparable to Yamamoto Genryuzai's Double Bones. Although the Double Bones are white hits, but Yamamoto Genryuzai used this move to beat Wonderweiss's body to pieces. You must know that Masco is much stronger than Vandalweiss, and the Snake-Toothed Iron Cannon directly wiped Masco into ashes. Both of them were killed in one hit, and there was no display upper limit, but this is enough to represent the power of the Snake-Tooth Iron Cannon. Void Knight Palace. What the hell, Abarai Renji's growth rate is too fast. Yami suddenly stood up from his seat, a little unacceptable. At the beginning, he was just a third-rate character who was randomly selected by him. In terms of strength, if he is ranked according to the current wood expulsion, the upper limit is only 100. And when the Quincy attacked the Soul Society, he was also a waste. Why did he become so strong after going to the Lingwang Palace and Qilin Palace once? The accumulation of hundreds of years in Ueko Mundo is not as good as a trip to Lingwang Palace. Calm down, Yami. Ulquiorra glanced silently at Yami. Yami, if you want to go to the Spirit King Palace, you can go there anytime after Master Aizen creates King Ki in Karakura Town. Zamari Ruro laughed. Yami scratched his head, stunned for a moment. Yes, I hope Master Aizen's plan goes smoothly, we have to work harder. Invisible Empire. How, James? Masco's pupils exploded, obviously unwilling to accept the result of his failure. Superheroes are defeated by villains, and the plot of the movie will not be written like this. In the video, he was directly killed by Abarai Renji's Bankai's trick, so James, a fan who supported him, died directly. There is no chance of resurrection at all, sir, don't be discouraged, you will always be a superhero in my heart. There was no joy on James's face anymore. Facing such a powerful enemy, the two together were no match for each other. Don't ask, superheroes all day long, it's annoying to death. Bambietta, who was sitting on the side, was a little impatient. Musco, in the eyes of Abarai Renji, you are a villain. Musk retorted. Only I am the hero, Shinigami and everything are awful. Immediately he looked at Ace Knot. Ace, you must avenge me. Ace Knot's murderous eyes have been fixed on Masco, you did it on purpose, didn't you? And avenge you. When taking stock of Rukia Kuchiki, she was punished by Bai Sha for instant killing before she used the disgusting appearance of the second form of God's cowardice. And Rukia and Abarai Renji came to the battlefield together, maybe he died before Masco. When Bambietta saw Ace Tino's appearance, he laughed directly, forget it, Ace, don't be as knowledgeable as Dajiming. With Abarai Renji's inventory wrapping up, the next name on the list has also become a big event that everyone is looking forward to. Annihilator, Team Leader, or Vice Captain, or Arankar. Abarai Renji's rapid growth from being weak to using Bankai to instantly kill Quincy makes it reasonable to see who will appear on the next list. Soon, a golden light flashed across the screen. Open black lens bracket the 26th place in the battle list. Hitsugaya Tōshirō close black lens bracket. Name. Hitsugaya Tōshirō faction. Seirei identity, Shinigami. Ability. Bankai IX, 91 defense, 92 speed, 91, 90. Vitality. 91 Kido, 90 Ryotsu, 92 combat power, 880,000. Hitsugaya Tōshirō. The name is fixed on the big screen. Seirei. Captain, you are on the list. Rangaku bent down abruptly, clasping Toshiro's face with his hands, agitated. Toshiro rolled his eyes at Rangaku. Understood, can you let go of your hands now? Good guy, there are so many captains and chairmen here, but he pinched the captain's face in public, how embarrassing he is. Rangaku was stunned for a moment, then quickly withdrew his hands back, slightly curved his pretty eyebrows, and smiled awkwardly. Captain, I'm too excited, please forgive me. How could she not be excited, once Toshiro was his subordinate? Even Captain Shiba, who has disappeared for many years, is on the list, and the current captain of the 10th team is on the list again. Doesn't this represent the strength of the 10th team? As the vice captain of the Juban team, she felt very honored. Toshiro straightened his clothes, coughed lightly and said seriously, are you in the 26th place? Captain Hitsugaya is too solemn, our captain is finally on the list again, isn't it worth being happy? Jingle Chunshui smiled lightly. Captain Hitsugaya's previous record is really not good, there is no winner in the battle against Heli Bell. The burial of frozen flowers was cracked by Wonderweiss's roar, and he was beaten by Busby in the back. But things can't be seen on the surface. Omeda stepped forward and said. Hearing this, the corners of Toshiro's mouth twitched, thinking, can you shut up if you can't speak? In the battle with Holly Bell, the video didn't show any information after the burial of ice and flowers was broken, so it didn't matter. Being hanged and beaten by Busby was clearly seen by everyone. Omeda laughed. Captain Hitsugaya has also won battles. He took back Bankai and used Hollow's Bankai to instantly kill Kangdu. Hollow Bankai is indeed stronger than normal Bankai in terms of strength, but whether it ranks ahead of Renji with Suzumebachi is debatable, Rukia said. Rukia does not question Hitsugaya's strength, but judging from the battle between the two sides, it is true that Renji is more powerful. Hollow Bankai's ultimate move, the Flower of the Cross, only freezes the enemy's moves, which is still a bit worse than the Snake Tooth Iron Cannon. I also feel the same way. The Quincy Master in Kangdu is not as powerful as Ma CK, who was on the list. Shu Bing said seriously. Captain Hitsugaya, I'm going to be frank, don't mind. Not only Shu Bing and Rukia, there are many dead Shendu in the conference room questioned. Because they have all seen Toshiro's strength, which is at the middle and lower level among many captains. The hollow power obtained by taking Bankai back from the invasion Shadow Medicine is just a flash in the pan. What do you say, the captain can be ranked 26th, definitely because he has a stronger reason than the vice captain Abarai. Seeing someone questioning Toshiro, Rangaku decisively retorted. Yeah, it's not important. I don't think if Vice Captain Abarai is here, he doesn't mind who's in front. Jingle Chunshui waved his hand. Present world. Captain Hitsugaya is ahead of me, how is it possible? My Suzumebachi is much stronger than his Dagoran Hiranmaru. Renji was full of dissatisfaction. Toshiro must use Bankai every time he fights, which seems to be a bit of a drop in price. Yoho, after learning about your real Bankai, you got lost? Ichigo glanced. When I was on the list before, I didn't see you like this. He even said, I'm that strong, and after the inventory was over, he put it on straight away. Ahem, that's not true. Anyway, it's just a difference of one rank, and it doesn't matter. Renji suddenly became serious. Captain Hitsugaya. I want to see what other tricks you have hidden. The Kurosaki house. It's that Shinigami. Kurosaki stared at Toshiro's name when he saw Toshiro's name. Anyway, the two always had a football friendship. Natsuri, do you know Toshiro? Kurosaki Ishin scratched his head, wondering. Sha Li nodded and said with a smile. Well, and he was one of my father's former subordinates, so it's quite a predestined relationship. At the same time, the big screen began to play Picture Zero. On the battlefield of Karakura Town, Tōshirō is at war with Aizen. But in Aizen's eyes, his attacks were very immature, and he avoided them all with a simple dodge. At this time, Jingle Chunhui also joined the battle, slashing at Aizen with the smallpox mad bone, but was pulled away by Aizen in an instant. He and Tōshirō looked at each other, regretfully said, "It's a pity, I missed it." "It's really calm, Captain Jingle." Aizen took it easy. "It seems I'm still young." Jingle Chunhui just beheaded Stark, although it consumed some Ryotsu, it did not affect the subsequent battle. Even so, he still wanted to catch him off guard. "Aizen, put the sense of responsibility on the hilt of the knife. And you are the captain of the enemy. Fighting for hatred is nothing more than dirty violence, which cannot be called fighting." Tōshirō's eyes froze. "Aizen, you really don't deserve to be captain. Interesting, I never thought that you who hated me so much in Godei 13 would say such a thing. Do you dare to say that you don't have any hatred on your blade, or that your hatred disappeared at that moment when Hinamori came here after recovering what?" Aizen still attacked with his mouth. Hearing Hinamori, Tōshirō became a little uneasy, and immediately grasped the handle of the knife and prepared to step forward. Seeing that Tōshirō was out of control, Jingle Chunhui immediately drew his sword. "Captain Jingle, I haven't finished talking yet. I still like to disrupt the situation as before. This bad habit needs to be changed." Aizen didn't change his face. Being stabbed by a man saying that, "I don't have the time to listen," Chunhui Yiju replied in a tone of indifference. "I'm really sorry, why don't we continue talking while fighting?" Aizen didn't panic at all, but Tōshirō couldn't bear his temper. Looking back at the image of Aizen slashing Hinamori, he was like a wild beast. "No need to say much, Lan Yi. Bankai Dagoran Hiranmaru." Tōshirō turned on Bankai. "Aizen, you were right, my knife is hatred. My trip is not for fighting, it is for violence to tear you apart." "Captain, don't let Aizen's words mess you up." Rangaku outside the video looked at Tōshirō worriedly. She knows Tōshirō, who is calm about other things, but about Hinamori, he can easily lose control of his emotions. "Xiaobai, everything is over." Hinamori looked at Aizen and became a little confused. One is a childhood sweetheart, and the other is the captain she adores. She doesn't want the two to fight each other. "Don't worry, I know." Tōshirō was calm on the surface, but he was already gnashing his teeth at Aizen. Jingle Chunhui smiled when he saw this. It seems that after defeating Stark, he still has to fight Aizen. What a headache. In the video screen. Enraged, Tōshirō swung Zanpakuto, and icicles poured down like a torrential rain. Soon behind him, 3 quadrilateral diamond-shaped ice crystals appeared. The rest of the people sensed Hitsugaya's Ryotsu and were amazed. This may be the power of love. Not only Tōshirō, but other captains and masks are also raising Ryotsu to deal with Aizen. "You imply that since there is hatred on the sword, I am not worthy to be the captain." "That's right, as long as I can cut you into pieces, I will not hesitate to lose the captaincy after the battle." Tōshirō stared hard. "I will spare no effort in 1.2 to defeat you, so that you have no time to activate Kyoka Suigetsu." However, when these words came out, he had already been under the illusion. "Give me no time to activate Kyoka Suigetsu?" Aizen said flatly. "That's right, hold the knife." Tōshirō sprints away. Ice Dragon Spintail. A slash of ice fell, and Aizen dodged out of the way. Ice Dragon Spintail, light. The ice dragon suddenly emerged and rushed towards Aizen. Meanwhile, Komamura Sajin, Love Akawa also used their abilities to help. "I'm sorry Captain Hitsugaya. I know you're not convinced, but it's forced by the form, so don't blame me." Faced with the help of the two, Tōshirō did not show any dissatisfaction. As long as he can defeat Aizen, any means are okay. However, this level of joint attack cannot pose a threat to Aizen at all. "Many to one, ambush, chaos, bait, don't use all means, don't expect to catch me," Aizen said abnormally calmly. Suddenly, Rojiro throws out Kinzaro in a surprise attack, and tangled Kyoka Suigetsu. "Can you be so calm when you are outnumbered?" While holding back, Yadomaru Lisa attacked with an iron slurry dragonfly. "Listen up to Ross, keep holding him down. The attack of the two is just a foretaste. Love Akawa has already used the mace Aizen." But Aizen retreated with just one blow. "Do you want to defeat me just by numbers and brute force? It's too beautiful. I'm afraid you and I have different perceptions of the so-called power. Let me tell you, what is power?" Aizen instantly raised Zanpakuto. "This is power." With one slash, King Ming Ming's sword broke directly, and his arm was also cut off. Yadomaru Lisa, Atoribashi Rojiro, Love Akawa fell one after another. Almost murderous. Seirei. Tōshirō's face turned extremely ugly. "This is just Aizen in normal form. Is it that strong?" Chapter 97, Kyoka Suigetsu? That's just the tip of Aizen's glacier. Seeking subscription. You should know that Aizen in the video shows no signs of using Hogyoku. If Aizen enters the Hogyoku form, this kind of suppression may be much more normal, but you are in an ordinary form. Why can you kill so many captains in an instant? It's hidden deep. Aizen. Komamura Sajin's eyes were fierce, and he cut off his own black robe Zanpakuto and his arm. What kind of power is this? From this point of view, the power Tusen Kanami seeks from Aizen is simply a drop in the bucket. Is this the real power? Byakuya Kuchiki fell silent. He was not among the captains in the video, but combined with the previous video, he could guess that he and Zaraki Kenpachi were still in Hueco Mundo at the moment. Even if he came here by himself, in the hands of Aizen, he might be instantly killed like the other captains. Ha ha ha, interesting, Aizen. Zaraki Kenpachi's fighting spirit emerges, not to mention fighting Aizen in Hogyoku form, at least compete with Aizen in the current stage. Visored. What kind of strength is this? Love Ikawa's eyes were straightened, the 4 captain-level sieges couldn't even touch a single hair of Aizen. However, the 4 of them were instantly killed by him, which made him unacceptable. No wonder Baragan and Stark are also Aizen's subordinates. Aizen Sosuke. Too strong, damn it, it's even stronger than that time. Yadomaru Lisa frowned, and Aizen was not a little bit stronger than 100 years ago. She was a little annoyed at her own incompetence, and the opportunity for revenge was in her hands, but the crushing of her strength was too obvious, and she had to accept the reality. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Aizen shook his head. This kind of opponent who was instantly killed made him feel bored. Zaraki Kenpachi, who can beat himself with 2 tricks, is not in Karakura town, and Yamamoto Genryuzai doesn't know where to hang up. If it wasn't for Ichimaru Jin's episode, I guess Seirei and Visored would have been wiped out by myself long ago. Invisible Empire. Aizen, you are my biggest threat, Yuhabach sighed. He even had an idea that if he didn't open his eyes, he might not be Aizen's opponent. Of course, he's talking about Aizen that's fully 04 fused with Hogyoku. However, the strength of Aizen in normal form surpassed that of the Quincy division below the guards of the Star-Crossed Knights. Aizen, what's your upper limit? Yuhabach smiled lazily. The video screen continues to play. Aizen was fighting with the captains, and Ichimaru Jin explained, that's right, the scary thing about Captain Aizen is not that he can use Kyoka Suigetsu. Although Kyoka Suigetsu is also a terrible ability, most people would rather die if they use it to defeat the enemy. No. Although the group of Espadas who come here have their own ghosts, they have formed a group for the same reason, that is, the strength of Aizen. Do you really think Aizen charmed Espada into submission? Captain Aizen's abilities are far from anyone else's. Watch out for Kyoka Suigetsu. No use, Kyoka Suigetsu was caught off guard. Beware of other tricks, will still be caught off guard. Whether it's a sky collapse or an earth fissure, even if you gather your wisdom to prevent disasters and eliminate disasters, Captain Aizen's strength is still unstoppable. Ichimaru Jin, who has been with Aizen all year round, knows better than anyone else, that's why he chose to hide for 100 years, just to seek an opportunity. Aizen looked at Visored, who was also instantly killed when using Hollow, and said calmly, I said before, you are just a group of incompetent Arankars. It stands to reason that fake Arankars should not disobey me who is the leader of Arankars. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at a child with a knife, his eyes trembling, and it was difficult to accept this fact. You even said we are fake Arankar, that B************** D Aizen is so self-centered. Outside the video, Hiyori bared his teeth and was furious. Although they are no longer Shinigami, they are definitely not Arankar. Moreover, he was dubbed the disgusting title of fake Arankar, which Hiyori couldn't accept. Hiyori, don't be influenced by Aizen, he is just a villain, Hiriko comforted. Present world. Kurosaki Ichigo, Renji and others froze in place, and their conversations became much less. The intelligence of Aizen is already known to everyone, but the killing of the 4 team captains together is like picking something out of a pocket, which is beyond the cognition of few people. It was so shocking through the screen, and watching the massacre in the video, Ichigo couldn't imagine how tormented it must be. Seeing that his companion was killed, he couldn't help anything. This feeling is worse than killing him. The video screen continues to play. After Komamura Sajin and the others were defeated, Sui Feng came forward in an instant. Seeing this, Aizen frowned slightly. Have you lost your mind? Maneuvering secretly, the dignified commander-in-chief is actually facing the enemy head-on, throwing aside aesthetics to fight, abandoning virtue to die. Don't seek death. If you want to protect someone, secretly attack the enemy fang. Ordinary Shendu should have been learned in the Spirit Art Academy, not to mention stealth maneuvers. Sui Feng snorted softly and acted calmly. It's ridiculous that a mere traitor is still full of Shinigami dogma. I used to coach, too. It's absurd to let you coach the 46 room, so you will be plotted by the traitors. You want to hit the casualties maliciously, and when it comes to being counted, don't you do the same? Aizen didn't change his face. Sui Feng frowned, unexpectedly. Do you think you're plotting against me? Immediately, she Shunpo left, leaving dozens of clones on the spot with her extremely fast footsteps. The lineup is comparable to the many shadow clone techniques. Are you a clone? Aizen remained calm in the face of danger, and said indifferently. It's very good to be a juggler. It's an honor to be praised by you for 3 lives. You shouldn't show off your secret maneuvers. As a gift in return, let this juggling take your life. As Sui Feng said, he swooped down, and dozens of clones also followed the main body to attack. Aizen sneered and wanted to draw his sword to attack, but his arm was bound by a layer of ice, which was Tōshiro's ice dragon spin tail. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Sui Feng stabbed Suzumebachi in the middle of Aizen's chest, and at the same time as the blood gushed out, the Hinata honeysuckle flower emerged. 2 hits kill. Sui Feng stared hard, stabbing Suzumebachi again. Did you succeed? Omeda outside the video stared eagerly at the picture in the video. No matter who the opponent is, as long as Suzumebachi stabs the same position twice, he will surely die. Even Aizen is the same. Sui Feng nodded. Captain Hitsugaya's containment should be successful, but for Aizen, it shouldn't be fatal. Because Aizen is still alive in the back, his second-level kill may have only caused serious injuries to him. It would be too difficult to kill him, on screen. Sui Feng's stab hit, but her eyes tightened. Second-level kill, Aizen said lightly. The moment Sui Feng stabbed with his left hand, he grabbed Sui Feng's arm, and stared at Sui Feng like a Shinigami. Interesting move, but useless. Soon, Feng Benoit also disappeared. Shinigami's battle is Ryatsu's battle. With your ability, I can completely suppress it with Ryatsu. At this time, Aizen's frozen right arm was also freed from the ice, and he raised the mirror flower water ear. But suddenly, chick, a shadow knife pierced from behind, directly piercing Aizen's chest. Nani, Aizen's pupils shrank suddenly, and he immediately looked back. Jingle Chunshui emerged from the shadow, and retracted the shadow knife. You are so confused, there are shadows on the ice. Even though Aizen got out of control, the icicles created by Tōshirō Ice Dragon's spinning tail were still there, and Aizen's shadow naturally fell on it. Jingle. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Not far away, Tōshirō had already recharged his batteries, and his hatred made him eager to end Aizen's life. Jingle Chunhui was also very witty and decisively dodged away. Tōshirō gripped Hiranmaru tightly, ready to sprint. Aizen raised the knife and thought to himself, after all, you are young and impatient, and you cut directly when you see a chance of victory. This is your biggest shortcoming, Captain Hitsugaya. But at this time, Hiriko Shinji appeared with a stroking hand, and activated Shikai to reverse the world. Oops, it's the other way around. Aizen frowned. But he couldn't help himself to react, the ice wheel had already passed through his chest. Seirei. Success. Rangaku was startled, looked at Tōshirō and continued, with the cooperation of Captain Jingle and Captain Hiriko, Aizen can't escape. Sui Feng gave Rangaku a blank look, thinking that my attack also distracted Aizen's attention. Okay, you didn't say a word. Outnumbered, Aizen, you be *******D. Even if you can't die, you can definitely force out your Hogyoku form. Tōshirō frowned even though he knew that Aizen would not die from this blow. But this knife is a personal grievance between myself and Aizen, even if it doesn't kill me, it's worth it. First pierced by Captain Jingle's shadow ghost, and then pierced by Captain Hitsugaya's Hiranmaru in the chest, no matter how powerful Aizen is, he will definitely be seriously injured, Komamura Sajin firmly said. And he's pretty sure that Aizen will use Hogyoku's power to evolve himself into a Phase 1 masked man. Although the combined damage of several people is not as poisonous as Ichimaru Jin Kamishini no Yari. But Aizen in normal form is fatal, he should use the power of Hogyoku to repair the injury. Yeah, if Captain Ichimaru Jin makes a move in Aizen's form, maybe he can really kill him. Jingle Chunhui shook his head. When Ichimaru Jin made a move, the fusion between Hogyoku and Aizen was already very high. And that is the third fusion state, the strength has already stood at the apex of Shinigami and Shu, and it is only one step away from a qualitative change. What a pity, Shiro, it's okay. Hinamori walked to Toshiro's side and said softly, even if you didn't kill Aizen, Captain, you did enough. No, it's not enough, I'm not willing to kill Aizen myself. Toshiro clenched his fists, but he knew that it was impossible to do it with his own strength. This conflicting emotion made him very tormented. Seeing Toshiro's state, Hinamori felt distressed and thought, Captain Aizen, you can still change back to the original gentle Captain Aizen, right? I don't want Xiaobai to hurt you, and I don't want you to hurt Xiaobai. Suya Palace, monitoring room. Ichimaru Jin smiled and shook his head, thinking that these captains are too stupid to think that such an attack will really hurt Aizen. It would be naive not to give Aizen the chance to unleash Kyoka Suigetsu. Of course, even if Aizen is really hurt like this, he won't die. Komamura, see, this is your so-called stand, nothing in front of power, Tusen Kanami murmured. At the same time, I also look forward to how Aizen will get out of trouble. The video screen continues. Toshiro's anger prompted him to continue pushing Hiranmaru, the blade slicing across Aizen's chest. Aizen's whole face was twitching, cold sweat poured out, he raised his hand to hold Hiranmaru's blade, trying to stop Zanpakuto from going any further. Soon, his hand hammered down, seems lost went to the signs of life. Huh? What's going on? Master Aizen. Zamari Ruro sat up in surprise outside the video, staring with disbelief on his face. No, how could Master Aizen will be killed? Judging from the video, Aizen is indeed showing no signs of life. Could it be that the picture here happened after Master Aizen was assassinated by Ichimaru Jin? Yami frowned, and continued. Didn't you all find out about the inventory of Quincy? There is no trace of Master Aizen. Could it be that Master Aizen is really? Hollybell, Stark and others Espada shook their heads helplessly as they looked at these two smart people. Master Aizen's acting skills seemed to have fooled the group of Shinigami. Zale Aporo said lightly. It's just that I fooled a bunch of idiots, but I think Mr. Aizen's acting skills need to be improved. Ilorielli smiled secretly. Who can compare with you? You are a liar. Zale Aporo spread his hands. Ilorielli's ability is originally to imitate. When fighting Rukia, he becomes Shibakayan. How can he do it without acting skills? Yami and Zamari Ruro looked at each other, somewhat confused. Return to the video screen. Aizen's dying. Let the dead Shendu of Karakura town breathe a sigh of relief. It's done. Captains are finally done. Kira, please be happy too. Don't keep putting on that ugly face. The deputy captains of Shooting Field, Shubing, and Omeda were particularly excited. But at this time, the injured Hina 09 suddenly sat up. Hinamori, are you able to get up yet? Shooting turned to look. Hinamori didn't pay attention to him, but walked forward silently with his head bowed like a walking dead. Where are you going? Hinamori. Hinamori. The shouts from Kira and the shooting range didn't stop Hinamori either. On the other side, Hirako put away Zanpakuto and carried it on his shoulders, heaved a sigh of relief and said, it's not easy, it finally turned the tide of the battle, right, Ichimaru? Ichimaru Jin didn't respond to him either. Everything, except for Hinamori's abnormality, seems to be quiet. However, at this time, Kurosaki Ichigo was stunned in place, his pupils constricted suddenly. Among all the people present, he was the only one who had never seen Kyoka Suigetsu's Shikai, so he was immune to illusions, and what happened just now? He sees everything. This is not working together to deal with Aizen, but killing colleagues. Everyone. What did you all do? Ichigo's roar reached everyone's ears. At this moment, everyone came to their senses and were dumbfounded. Aizen, who was stabbed by Tōshirō, just now turned into Hinamori Momo. Vicha. Tōshirō was almost desperate. Hinamori, whom he wanted to protect, was actually killed by Hiranmaru Zouchin. Nani. What's going on? Tōshirō outside the video looks just like himself in the video, helpless and desperate. Why did Aizen become Hinamori? During the battle, he obviously didn't see Aizen liberating Kyoka Suigetsu. How come, Master Aizen? Hinamori's face was as stiff as a stone statue. She was unwilling to accept that Aizen hurt herself again. When did it happen? Jingle Chunshui frowned. He didn't even realize that the crowd in the video had Kyoka Suigetsu. He thought that even if he couldn't kill Aizen together, he could seriously injure him. But the result? Aizen was unscathed, and even led Tu Shilong impale Mori with his own hands. Jingle Chunshui looked at Tōshirō unbearably. Presumably Tōshirō's mood at this time was more complicated than anyone else's. Captain. Rangaku wanted to comfort Tōshirō, but stopped. Thanks to Hinamori admiring you so much, Aizen, you actually hurt her twice. B**********D, I won't let you go. Tōshirō gritted his teeth and wanted to kill Aizen himself. Present world. Hinamori's vice captain turned out to be Aizen's stand-in. Renji was filled with righteous indignation, and the plot reversed too quickly, which made it hard for him to accept. Ichigo is also heartbroken. If not for his own reminder in the video, would everyone still be drowning in the ocean of victory? Although he and Hinamori have only met a few times, Aizen's approach is indeed cruel. He stared hard. Aizen, leave it to me, Void Knight Palace. As expected of Master Aizen, you actually deceived all the Shinigami. Zamari Ruro finally understood the situation. Yami nodded in agreement. Just this group of idiots, what are we expecting? Zale Aporo glanced at the two of them, thinking that you were evenly matched. On the throne. Aizen shook his head slightly. Hinamori. You can leave this time with peace of mind.